It's hard that after the war, the master race, the history books they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, we're...
Hello there, hello there, hello there everybody. How the fuckety whip are we all? I am tremendously well, thank you for asking. Did we have an F before we even got fucking going? Absolutely fucking end me. Thank you very much, Phil Decker with Bitty Bits. I will happily give you a sloppy reach around. I said what I fucking said. Has Britain been colonised by Jacob Rees-Mogg? I'd literally rather get AIDS. Thank you. Yes. Are there 3 Kevin Logans glued end to end? Well, you have to watch the film to find out. I don't want to break any secrets there. Spoilers, you know. Anyway, yes, okie doke. We're doing award-winning journalism, which is a Sunday tradition as old as a couple of years or something. I don't fucking know. And so yeah, no justice of the MTGs, and I will watch Laura Koonsberg pathetically flail in her attempts to ask questions of powerful politicians. Yippity fuckway. I need to get a not clicky mouse because that's ridiculously loud. And you can help me in my endeavour to get a not clicky mouse if you wanted to. By giving me money in the form of bits and subs and subscriptions and memberships and super chats and super thanks, and you can gigantify emotes, I think. Thank you 255. Did you almost do the happy hour opener? I did, but the thing is, because I clicked on it and then I wanted to unclick it, I dragged it away, and so it just went up, so I had to then click on it to make it go back down to its normal place, which then started it. So basically I have the motor skills of a 75-year-old with brain damage. I'm surprised I can tie my own fucking shoelaces. Yes, let's admit one guest, shall we? How are we no justice, Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I am hoping, beyond hope, that your internet is better today.
Yeah, good luck with that, I guess.
Thank you, Doc Duck, for the £10 of Ribena money. Much appreciated.
Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I was in the middle of a rant, actually. I was ranting about how, in the mind of Westminster journalists, they have decided that working class is an ideology, and it's like a socially conservative ideology rather than a material kind of class in society.
I actually think that's too complicated. When they say working class, they just mean racist and stupid. That's it. Literally, when they talk about what you're going to alienate working class people, they just mean racists. That's literally all that means to most journalists is just be racist. That's the only way you can win a working class person over.
Well, that's true. Like, 'cause in the 2010s, when the journalists were all liberals, they would use that as a derogatory term, right? They would use it essentially as a synonym for chav.
Pretty much,
because they believe that racism was bad. But in 2025, those same journalists now use it as a term of endearment. They're the misunderstood. What's the noble savage, right? That's the way that the kind of way in which they use that kind of description.
The underclass, yes. Yes. Frankly, the fact that they hate the working class shows me even more that the working class are racially superior, and they are a race of people. I'm telling you.
I mean, as long as by class you mean anyone whose dad was a toolmaker.
Well, obviously, I mean that they're the best ones.
So true.
They're the most working class of any person. If your dad was a toolmaker. Anyway, so yes, I am working class supremacist. Fuck it. Let's.
And how are you, Kevin?
I am biblical, frankly.
It's true. It's true. I remember many Kevins were mentioned in the Bible.
No, unfortunately, it's actually an Irish name. I was named after a terrorist. Literally true, by the way. I was named after a member of the IRA who was hung for his crimes when he was 18.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I was named after a terrorist.
Get some help.
And very possibly my middle name is after Trevor Francis, the footballer. So it's a mixed bag. A very mixed bag. Yeah. Anyway, shall we do some award-winning journalism?
I said, should we watch Zach Polanski on Trevor Phillips first and then do award-winning journalism?
Yeah, we can do that. I haven't got it queued up, so give me a second. But yeah. I did see the the liberal centrist freaks going, "Oh no, he said he wouldn't work with Starmer." So their great political analysis of this seems to be, I'm very big brained. You should definitely ally yourself with the most unpopular human to ever take any kind of office ever anywhere.
Literally. All the other people getting mad about the fact that the Denton leaflets have "Labour must be punished for Gaza" written on them. It's like, oh, this is divisive. No, it's accurate, is what you'll find. They should be punished, both electorally and in the International Criminal Court.
Yeah, I was about to say, the fucking... didn't the ICJ kind of at least hint that this was the case already, no? Interesting. Okay, well, you can tell who's doing the rounds, because fucking... what's her face? Yvette Cooper, who was named after a pretend terrorist group, literally, is... that's a joke, by the way. Is on Trevor Phillips as well, and I'm scrolling through, and I can't see Zach Polanski. Where is he? Are they giving him, like, 10 seconds again? There he is with Zia Yusuf. That's the right day, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, there he is. Okay, so he's right at the fucking end. Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, in the graveyard slot.
True. Okay, here we go then. Right. Okie doke. I suppose I should share with you, shouldn't I, chat? I should probably show you what's on the fucking screen.
I love how this kind of looks like one of those bits in The Office where they just kind of see people bustling about with the kind of the wobbly camera effect.
What do you mean, sorry? What?
The picture on the screen.
Oh, okay, I'm with you, yeah. I don't know, they were just, like, trailing a thing about Zelensky or something. I don't fucking know. Oh, hang on, that's silent.
Happens now.
Time to talk to the Greens now. I'm joined by their leader, Zach Polanski. Morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Keir Starmer said yesterday that if you gain power, the lamps would go out across Europe. And he was echoing the words of the former Foreign Secretary, Edward Grey, on the eve of the First World War, 1914. And
it's so funny, right? It's so funny that Keir Starmer, again, is so politically bereft of his own ideas. All he does is just copy people from previous eras, like when he used the weak line in the House of Commons. Yeah. Just someone totally without any identity of his own.
Or when he did that thing where he was echoing the Rivers of Blood speech. Like, we've heard it before, mate. At least be an original racist. You know?
To say, Gray said, "We shall not see them lit again in our lifetime." How do you respond?
I think people are pretty bored of Keir Starmer making cheap political smears at other parties. People's wages are stuck in 2008. We know rent's going up, bills are going up. There's real problems both in this country and internationally. And the Green Party are offering solutions to that. And what I think Keir Starmer should be doing is actually focusing on the issues people face every single day, rather than making cheap attacks. In terms of the lights going up...
Defence against Russian aggression, for example, is pretty important. First duty of a government is to protect its people, isn't it?
Take national security really seriously. It's the first job of the Prime Minister, and actually it's the first job of a party leader. But let's talk about this Labour government. They brought in Peter Mandelson, a friend of a convicted paedophile, who was leaking secrets.
Yeah, and also it's never going away, Keir. It's never going away, McBain.
And also, like, and best man at Trevor Phillips's wedding.
Exactly, but also, like, are you suggesting that it's an incestuous gangbang of corruption in the entirety of the political establishment? Is that what you're saying? Because that's true.
I couldn't possibly comment on such scurrilous rumours. Also, again, like, this idea that somehow we're going to be personally invaded by Russia, who can't even take the Donbass, right? Like,
yeah, they couldn't take Kiev. I don't think they're getting to London.
No,
also, have you seen? Look, literally, a nation without a navy has sunk several ships, including the Moscow. They put Moscow under the fucking Black Sea. I think we're okay. Jesus, this is such nonsense. Oh, you're soft on Putin. What the fuck does that mean? What are you talking about?
Scare tactics.
Well, it's just nonsense.
Times of fear being used to negatively polarize people towards hopeful politics.
Yeah, which is ironic given that one of their accusations is that everyone else is divisive.
Literally.
Although I am soft on drugs. We should all just have lots of drugs.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad for national security. I don't believe they're putting the money that they need to into cybersecurity, into pandemic resilience, into the climate crisis. These are all real issues of national security as well as protecting this country. So again, I think the Prime Minister should focus on actually getting the job done rather than cheap attacks.
He is right, though, that you would not sign up to NATO's Article 5, that is to say, to take military action in defence of another NATO country if they were.
Right, but this is the strange thing. We talk about in this country so much the sovereignty of the nation, right? And, that whole Brexit thing of getting sovereignty back. But now the entire political establishment's like, you won't sign away our sovereignty. You're going to leave it up to other nations whether we go to war or not.
I mean,
why do you want us to be able? Why do you want us to take that decision to give away our own power to other nations? So you want the fucking a reckless leader of Estonia to decide whether we get involved in nuclear armed warfare?
Well, the thing is, right, is that it's always a sovereign decision whether or not you sign up to those treaties, right? That's what's so frustrating about the Brexit debate, is that they essentially said, well, we're losing our sovereignty by not setting our own laws. But we set our own ambition as to whether or not we want to be a part of those treaties, right? So it's not, the sovereignty argument for me is neither here nor there. But as you say correctly, like this idea that the press is saying, which is that there is no argument about this, that's where the problem is. And you're right. They are essentially trying to railroad politicians into saying that Estonian politicians should be able to decide for us what happens. And at the end of the day, right, like when it comes to Article 5, well, it depends on the context whether I think that it's a good idea to follow it should it be invoked. Again, the only time, and I repeat, the only time in history it's been invoked was after 9/11, and it was used to justify the invasion of Afghanistan. No motherfucker in this country wants to do that again.
Which
no
is
one does.
Amazing considering a nation state didn't attack them.
No.
It was a terrorist attack. If we did that for every terrorist attack, is there a single NATO country that hasn't had a terrorist attack since 9/11? Presumably not. So, and no one else was that butt blasted about it. They'll be like, oh, we need the entire world to go and kill some brown people for this. No, it's a terrorist attack. Also, if you were going to blame a single nation state, which would have been silly, but if you were going to do that, it would be Saudi Arabia. Not Afghanistan, not Iraq, not Syria. Saudi Arabia. The ones you're friends with. The one that Donald Trump, during his first term, literally fucking curtsied for the leader of. He literally curtsied, which I'm surprised his knees even were able to do it. It was amazing.
Literally, and they found Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, which is in fucking Pakistan.
Yeah. So
another ally, supposedly.
A Saudi national hiding in a nuclear-armed, supposed friendly nation next to a massive military base, which means they definitely knew he was fucking there. Although, to be fair, it was very funny going through the list of pornography he had. I will say that. And just the huge number of chickens he had. Like, you would think he was a chicken farmer. You don't need that many chickens. How many fucking eggs are you getting through, you mad bastard?
I heard Rachel Reeves wants to tax him.
Fair play.
The terrorist farming tax.
The terrorist farm tax. Okay, literally, who's worse, Osama bin Laden or Jeremy Clarkson?
It's really tough, isn't it?
That's honestly, chat. That's a toss a coin, you know.
Well, to be fair to Osama bin Laden, at least his political views are coherent, which is more than you can say for Jeremy Clarkson.
Literally so, yeah.
Invaded.
And you could argue that his use of violence was more justified than punching a man for bringing you a cold sandwich.
Although less justified than punching Piers Morgan.
Well, that is true. We'll let him off with that. Look, we'll let him have that one as a treat. But yeah, and I'm not saying that America deserved 9/11. I'm not saying that.
Far be it for me to agree with Hamas Piker.
True. I still can't believe that during the fucking the mayoral debate thing of going, do you condemn Hamas and Hassan Piker, the Twitch streamer? That guy, yeah.
Do you condemn Doncaster?
Yes, unironically, yes.
Well, we've already signed up to that, but the very obvious thing to point out is that Donald Trump, our so-called ally, who is behaving increasingly dangerously and unpredictably, is threatening to annex Greenland. An attack on one is an attack on all, and it just feels...
Yeah, the idea that we're supposed to bow down to the beauty of NATO as we have the leader of NATO threatening to take the territory of other NATO nations. Like, surely us being in NATO protects us from the fucking imperialism. Because we're the imperial gods, right? We're the ones doing the imperial... No. When it suits America, we'll just take your fucking land.
Literally.
Well, so what's the point then? It doesn't suit our purposes in any way whatsoever then. Because if they just decide that they want Cornwall, they'll just fucking take it. Fuck it.
And at no point, right, I would like to read, at no point has Vladimir Putin ever said that he wants to annex anywhere other than the Donbass, right? Like...
True, but I mean, to be fair...
Putin says the same thing about the Donbass as says the same thing about Greenland as Putin says about the Donbass, and suddenly it's just like, oh, let's appease. No, these people are as bad as each other.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. It's like two cheeks of the same imperial arse. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
But to be fair, just because he doesn't say he wants to annex other places, like he literally sent a column of tanks towards Kiev. I don't think they were going there to deliver mail. You know?
No, true.
It was funny though. Like honestly, that long snake of tanks, like that's the worst formation because literally your entire formation is just flank. You've got no front.
One bombing run.
Yeah.
Exoset from start to finish.
Or just one cheeky bastard with a sticky bomb on the front tank, and everyone behind it is in a traffic jam and stuck and very easily hit. Like it was just. It's the worst possible formation ever. Your entire frontage to your enemy is about 4 feet. What's the point? What are you doing? Anyway.
Surely the whole point of having heavily armoured vehicles with tracks is that you don't need to follow roads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You would think they could go across a field, but apparently not. Look, and again, we're supposed to be scared of a nation whose tanks can't go across grass. Apparently that's too much for us, though. We couldn't possibly handle it.
Well, literally, they do have so much of the technology they're using in Ukraine now, which is like Soviet leftovers. It's quite funny.
They're into that fucking ship they sent up the English Channel. I was like, let them send it. Have you seen the thing? It looks like it was powered by coal. It was fucking awful. Just spewing out black smoke. Because the most danger that is to us is to the fucking air quality of the south coast. Jesus Christ. Like, that's not scary. That's sad. I feel bad for you. You used to be literally within my lifetime, you were one of the 2 superpowers of Earth, and now you're this. Ooh, gross.
Keir Starmer's speech yesterday, which, by the way, is not 100 miles away from what I've been saying for months now, which is we need a closer relationship with Europe. So it's quite bizarre to hear him repeating a lot of the things I've been saying and making an attack on me at the same time.
Also, it's interesting that even Zach does this, I think. When they say a closer line with Europe, they just mean like Central and Western Europe. Because Russia is also Europe. Sorry to break that to you. That's a thing. Ukraine is Europe. Greece is Europe.
Turkey
is a bit of Europe, yeah. But no, just the white people bits.
Well, it's like when people say that it's like people say Marxism is anti-Western, or famous non-Western German Karl Marx.
yeah. 2 Germans wrote the most anti-Western thing ever. Yeah, clearly. Even though he lived exclusively in Germany, France, and England, and is buried in London. Which, by the way, that's how the Jeremy Beadle meme started. By the way. Bizarrely, I was talking one day about Karl Marx being buried in Highgate Cemetery in London, and we got and I was like, oh, there are loads of people, loads of famous people. So we looked it up, and one of those people was Jeremy Beadle. He's buried in Highgate Cemetery as well, and I was like, I didn't even know he was fucking dead. What the fuck? And then some cheeky cunt said you look like him, and I shouldn't have reacted. It's my own fault, really.
You don't mind having a go at the Americans, but you wouldn't commit, would you, to defending a NATO country against aggression by Russia?
Oh, I absolutely would commit to that. If we're in NATO, as we are, then it's clear that we need to sign up to the articles.
Also, we can do it on the basis of like right and wrong. So, like, again, America invoking Article 5 for 9/11 was clearly wrong. We shouldn't have got into those wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we shouldn't have supported the butthurt fucking cope that was pretending they were attacked by a nation state when they clearly weren't.
I mean, just in general, like, so much of the response to this was lashing out because the important people got hit. Again, like, the amount of people who died in 9/11 was an absolute tragedy. Like, no one is denying this. But the reality, of course, is that the collective American psyche was irreparably damaged by a fraction of a tiny, minuscule fraction of the pain that's been inflicted upon the global south for the last 100 years.
Honestly, if you look back at the history of it, I'd say the turning point in the American people's psychology was the Vietnam War. If you look at America before Vietnam, they were confident and there was a kind of nuance to the nation. If you look at war films made before Vietnam are quite nuanced. Some of them are quite anti-war. Some of them have, like, you actually get to see the psychological impact of these things. And then after Vietnam, it's all just, yeah, let's go and kill some bad guys. Woo! It's all that shit.
Well, because the American State Department had to turn it into propaganda. Otherwise, they just have an absolute decimation of military recruitment. Because the entire American population had seen a giant failed war for no reason, where both American soldiers and huge scores of Vietnamese and Laotian Cambodians got slaughtered for no fucking reason. No reason at all.
Yeah, and I think the American establishment realised, like, that war, I mean, they were never going to win it on the ground anyway because of the conditions and the bravery of various groups. But ultimately it was lost because the American people turned against it. That's the reason it couldn't continue. They had to just fucking stop. Because the American people had every night on the TV would see, like, babies being burned with napalm and coffins of American soldiers and stuff. And so they decided, oh, let's just do propaganda. And so now the amount of money that the American armed services spend in propaganda is amazing. Up to and including, they signed a deal with the NFL for hundreds of millions of dollars to do military days and massive flags on the pitch and flyovers from the Air Force to integrate themselves completely and utterly into the American culture. And the American taxpayers paying to be propagandized to. It's fucking insane. In a Machiavellian sense, it's brilliant. Absolutely superb. But in a human sense, it's grotesque, you know?
Because we never did it in this country post Iraq and Afghanistan because it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. And we now have, like, an entire generation of millennials who will never, ever go and fight for their country because our only experience of what joining the army to fight for the UK is to, A, be the US's bitch, which obviously will never change, and has been done in service of imperial wars of aggression, like was the case in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Although, to be fair, the Frankie Boyle line about, say what you like about Iraq and Afghanistan, but we're going to have one hell of a Paralympics team. And it's true. If you look at it, half of them are military vets who had their legs blown off by the fucking Taliban. Honestly, okay, I'm just saying this. They get the assist for those medals, okay? I'm not saying we put the Taliban's flag up there, but every 10th medal, we should have played the Afghan national anthem as well. Just saying.
And Article 5 says an attack on one is an attack on all.
With Vinted's new electronics category.
Oh, apologies. Yeah.
You can earn.
If I have the ad block on, it, like, fucking destroys the bandwidth. So.
Fair enough. That's the thing as well, is that I think I would have liked to have seen a stronger pushback from Zach with regards to this stuff, because as we pointed out before, when it comes to Article 5, it should be on a case-by-case basis, because at the end of the day, our opposition to NATO isn't just a broad opposition to military defensive pacts. No one sensible, but like no one like serious genuinely thinks that every defensive pact is a bad thing. The specific leftist opposition to NATO is that it's a defensive pact in inverted commas, dressed up, but in reality it's an imperial war machine. Yeah. That's the problem, right? Yeah. NATO were the ones who engaged in interventions in, as we pointed out, the wake of 9/11 when it came to Libya. And of course, the history of NATO with things like Operation Gladio and stay behind squads to fight leftists and kill socialists, right? Like, that is our opposition to NATO. There's nothing about wanting us to be defenseless or not wanting to have mutual defense pacts. The problem, of course, is when it comes from a position of Western hegemony rather than the idea of mutual safety. Because NATO isn't about mutual safety, because most European countries can defend themselves.
Exactly, and even for those like Estonia, not to pick on Estonia, but like they're on the front line and they're not big enough to fight off Russia. It's just a fact. We can actually help them out without having to be in NATO. NATO isn't an essential part of this. We can still decide, like with Ukraine, we can still decide outside of the structure of NATO to sign a 100-year, £3 billion a year deal. Because we can help these countries as and when they need our help against aggression. We don't have to be a part of NATO to do that. Like, they act as if NATO has always been there and is an essential part without which we would be absolutely defenceless. It's nonsense. It's yet another layer of fucking stupid bureaucracy and added money and waste. And it means fucking pointless cunts like Jens Stoltenberg get to fucking... Or Mark Rutte... No, is it Mark Rutte now? Whoever the fuck is. Yeah. These wankers get to stroll around as if they're statesmen. You're not. You're not. You're fucking Boeing and fucking Raytheon's little bitch. That's all you are. You're America's little bitch.
Because again, that's all NATO has done since, like, Bosnia.
Yeah.
Like, Bosnia was the last time NATO did something which was of genuine concern that it can be lauded for. That was a perfectly reasonable intervention. Ever since Bosnia, all it's been has been America's fucking running dog.
Yeah. And even then there was fuckery involving the bombing of hospitals and stuff. Like...
the bombing of hospitals was the Kosovo intervention, right? Because Bosnia was boots on the ground.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking more broadly of the 90s in what was the former Yugoslavia. Yes. Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But it was too specific in NATO operations. There was a ground campaign in Bosnia to break the siege and to get aid into Srebrenica, someplace like that. But in Kosovo, there was a specific bombing campaign targeting Serbian targets, which ironically, in some analyses, caused the Serbians to do more genocide. Like,
yeah, okay. Well, that appears to just happen. Every so often, I disappear and go robot-y for 10 seconds. So that, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just have to put up with it. It's fucking annoying. I don't know why it happens. It's very stupid. Fuck it. I'm going to kill everyone in the world in Minecraft. Anyway. What was I saying? Fuck. Oh yeah, precision bombing. That was it. Now, things have changed a little bit, but like, it's still not precision. But my favourite thing was... Or not favourite, because it was disgusting. They accidentally bombed the wrong country. Now, to be fair, they were trying to bomb a building that was very near the border, but it was so bad that they literally hit the wrong country. And they ended up bombing, I think it was like a medical supply company in the wrong country. So,
Brilliant.
like, it doesn't suggest, like, laser-guided focus, this one, you know? Just saying.
Did they get the fucking IDF to shoot it?
Oh, no, the IDF are very, very accurate in terms of their killing of brown people. Yeah. They double tap very effectively. I don't let them away with any of it being an accident. They do it on purpose all the time, every single time. Fuck them.
The thing is, you know they can do individual pinpoint strikes because they do it in Lebanon.
Yep. They can when they want to. Yeah. Anyway.
In a press release today, you talk about a Big Brother Britain. I'm assuming that you're talking about George Orwell's...
No, he's talking about the TV show. He wants every single person in Britain to go into one big house and they get voted out one by one. It's going to be amazing.
A press estate rather than the telly programme. Isn't this going over the top a bit?
Hey, sis.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Sky News. You literally just had an advert. You fucking cheapskate cunts. Why does anyone advertise on this shithole anyway?
The by-election. Let me take you on to perhaps more familiar territory, or what we assume is more familiar.
Hang on.
Oh,
What?
it seems to have skipped forward forever.
Yeah, what happened there? What?
Are innocent of any potential crime.
What?
Testing against the genocide.
C, signs which imply elimination of the Israel.
Hang on. What?
This is not a country.
What the fuck?
They're putting the money
It skipped forward like 10 minutes. And I don't know how it did that.
that they need to into cybersecurity, into pandemic resilience, into the climate crisis. These are all real issues of national security, as well as protecting this country.
I've already fucking said, chat, if you have the ad block on, YouTube throttle you, and the video just won't play while I stream. So you can keep saying you block. I've got you block.
So again, I think the Prime Minister should focus on actually getting the job done rather than cheap attacks.
He is right, though, that you would not sign up to...
Oh, we already fucking saw this bit. Ooh. I'm actually getting a little bit angry now.
So he would commit to that if 5 says an attack on one is an attack on all.
All right. In the press release today, you talk about a Big Brother Britain. I'm assuming that you're talking about George Orwell's Oppressive State rather than the telly programme. Isn't this going over the top a bit? I mean, this is not a country where people get thrown in jail for things, as they say, at least not very often.
Yeah. Well, firstly, is it not a problem that it happens not often? Shouldn't it be not at all? And secondly, yes, they do. What the fuck are you talking about? Literally this week, literally 2 days before this fucking show, it was ruled unlawful that they tried to ban a group as terrorists for spray painting a fucking plane.
I mean, literally, again, it's really important that we make a distinction, right? People can get locked up for things that they say, and there has to be a very high bar for what those things are. For example, if you engage in incitement to violence, say, for example, if you post on Twitter that someone should go burn down migrant hotels, then that's incitement to violence. That is not protected speech. But again, that's because of the actual things that you're inciting that's the issue here. When it comes to free speech and the allusions to 1984 Big Brother, etc., etc., the issue comes with when the government tries to restrict the speech of people criticising the government or for a particular ideological grouping that they dislike.
Yeah.
And that is the issue. That's the difference between people getting arrested like Lucy Connolly and people getting arrested for things like supporting Palestine Action.
Like, if we have so much of this freedom of speech, Trevor, why is it that I have to do the joke that it's illegal to say I support Palestine Action? Because if you say that, you'll go to prison for 14 years, which is why I'm not saying it. I'm saying you can't say it.
Yeah.
You see, Trevor? You see how I have to couch that sentence in that way in order to avoid legal repercussion, because we don't actually live in a particularly free state at all?
Well, I think we're spiralling down that road. First of all, we saw 2,700 people potentially in prison, some of them waiting trials, a lot of them for holding up signs saying, I oppose a genocide. We have seen a genocide happen in Israel now for the last couple of years.
No, that's not the signs that they're being arrested for.
Yes, they are, actually. People have been arrested. Wait. People have been arrested for having a T-shirt that said, I support plasticine action. Now, I know the police aren't fantastically literate, but maybe employ one person who can read, who can check what the T-shirt says before they send someone to arrest them. Maybe.
Well, it is worth pointing out, it is not the opposing genocide bit that they've been arrested for. It is the I support Palestine Action bit that they've been arrested for. Still stupid. It's still stupid that that's what they've been arrested for.
No, but there have been literally people who will have like anti-genocide posters or whatever that will be arrested. It's not just people who've said I support Palestine Action, which again, it's just me saying what they said. I'm not saying that. Those people as well, but people who've literally had like, you know, joke ones about like I support Israeli inaction or I oppose Israeli inaction as like a opposite way of saying it. They've been arrested for that too. So there is no fucking freedom of speech here. Don't talk shit.
I mean, yeah, the reality, of course, is that the prescription of Palestine Action has led to a chilling effect, and that was one of the reasons it was brought up in the case, in the judicial review where the government's position was struck down. It was because of the chilling effect.
Well, I made the point when I was on Normal Island the other day that unfortunately, even if the consequential ruling on the 20th is that the government can't even go ahead with it and it gets instantly struck down, which is a bit unlikely, but it could happen. It still partly already served its purpose. It was meant to make people think twice before attending a pro-Palestine march. Yeah, that's it. It was meant to do that. Israel isn't just about hard and fast, like this has to be banned. It's, can we try and smooth the edges of this problem? Can we take some of the opposition to us away? Can we chip away at it in that way? Because it's a multifaceted... Hasbro is a multifaceted thing. It's not just hard bans on everything, because they can't do that. That's not really plausible. But what they can do is use their influence in foreign governments to crack down on things like, you know, protest marches, or have a government go out to bat for some violent, racist, fucking rape enthusiast football fans of a certain football team to be able to go into Britain, which they would never be allowed to in any other situation. But because it's Israel, the government will go to bat for them. It's ridiculous.
It's unironically hybrid warfare, exactly the same kind that Russia engage in. It's so funny watching campists and like Western imperialists just kind of do the Spider-Man meme with attacking Russia and Israel. I'm like, fucking same shit, different country.
Talking a little bit about football there, I don't know if you saw Brian Keir, former manager of the Republic of Ireland, being based as fuck on RTE the other day.
With this draw, I think they could show a real bit of, I could use a colloquialism, show a real bit of balls and refuse to play Israel. They should stand up, in my view, for the Palestinian state, the Palestinian people, and the Palestinian football organisation, who have not obviously been able to play games at home for years, but have also lost huge numbers of footballers during the war that was waged on them in Gaza. They've lost their football grounds. Israel has at least 6 teams playing on ground and in stadiums that were previously the land of the Palestinian state. Now with this,
like, you would never get a former England manager being that based ever, unfortunately. But there you go.
Well, you get a former England striker being that based, though.
That is true. That is true. I presume you're talking about Alan Shearer.
No, Gary
you Gary
Lineker.
Lineker. That was a joke. No, he wasn't. No, he was a centre forward. Yeah, and a rather good one as well. Yes.
It is signed. Which
oh shit, we had a raid. Sorry. Hello there, Hannah Reloaded and the Hannah Reloaded-ites. I'm Kevin Logan, socialist from the UK. You should hit the follow button, etc. I'm with noted Navarra media superstar. That's when you're supposed to introduce yourself.
I'm No Justice MTG. Please give me a follow. I'm cool.
They are cool. Look, I'm so tempted to be like, oh, she's trans as well, but like that would just be inappropriate, I think. But you see what I did there? By saying I didn't want to say it, I said it. I'm so fucking clever.
So smooth.
Absolutely. And thank you, It's the Morton, for resubscribing, and Sib Wolf for resubscribing as well. You're all awesome.
Things like from the river to the sea, a sign which imply elimination of the state of Israel, which are, at some sense, anti-Semitic and intimidating.
No, they aren't.
I mean, no, like, there's literally nothing about the elimination of any state which is in any way racist unless it's done for racist ends, you know?
Yeah.
This is about the reality of colonization. It wouldn't have been anti-British. It wouldn't have been anti-British racism if the Native Americans had wanted to stop the creation of the United States of America on their territory at the time, would it?
No, but you know what was anti-British hatred? The Boston Tea Party. I'm just saying it.
True.
Okay? The American Revolution and your supposed independence coming up to 250 years is a lie. Okay? I've never accepted it, and I never will.
Well, as a Jewish person, I don't find that anti-Semitic, and in fact, Benjamin Netanyahu himself has used that phrase. I'm one of only 5 people in British history who have been Jewish and lead a political party, so anti-Semitism needs to be taken really seriously in the same way that Islamophobia or any form of racism or hate crime needs to be taken seriously. But criticism of the Israeli government, I would say, is a moral responsibility when we're seeing what they are doing to innocent people day in, day out. And our government is not just complicit in that, they are actively enabling it. So for people...
Honestly, I do actually love you, Zach. I do actually love him. It's just
I mean-
like it shouldn't be abnormal or weird or of note that a political leader would say the obvious thing, which is we shouldn't be doing the genocide thing. Actually, that's bad, and it's not anti-Semitic to call out a nation state for doing genocide. But it is in British politics. It's a different thing, you know.
I mean, I hate to go back to the Luxembourg quote, but it's important that we bring it up every single time, right?
Yes.
The most revolutionary actors to describe what is happening, or whatever it was.
Indeed, so. Indeed.
People who are protesting against a genocide, I would say those people are actual patriots of this country who are saying, let's have a world where we make sure we're standing for human rights. It's not just Palestine Action, though, by the way. We've seen authoritarianism over the Prime Minister wanting mandatory ID cards. We've seen the authoritarianism of scrapping jury trials. Pattern over pattern shows that Keir Starmer is deeply desperate caretaker Prime Minister who is clinging on to power by trying to crush dissent.
So you know all those 2,700 are innocent of any potential crime?
That's not true at all. So some of them have committed criminal damage.
Get ready for...
Yeah, exactly. No one is arguing that no crime took place, but breaking and entering and damage of property is not terrorism. No one is suggesting
right?
They haven't even engaged in violent activity. But as I pointed out on Normal Island, 2 drunks in a pub car park fighting is violence. It's not terrorism. Just saying they did violence is not a proof of anything other than they were violent. And we already have laws against violence. So prosecute them under that. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that. But what they're not is fucking terrorists.
And that was literally the conclusion of the judicial review.
Yeah.
The specific conclusion was you can't just call everybody you have ideological disalignment with terrorists, enabled to stop them from being able to congregate or be funded or have people show public support for them when you already have the levers at your disposal with which to prosecute them for the crimes that they commit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we need to go like 5 seconds
already...
back.
You what, sorry?
Need to go like 5 seconds back because it started playing after the advert.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a very coy little face.
True at all. So some of them have committed criminal damage. But as you said earlier on the show, criminal damage is already illegal. That's very different from it being a terrorist attack. And it's the conflation which is dangerous and the authoritarianism which was behind the question you asked me.
This week you celebrated a High Court decision to block the proscription of Palestine Action. You're okay with criminal damage as long as it's done in the pursuit of a cause that you're sympathetic with?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, the reality, of course, is that, the point that Zach is making here is that whether it's criminal damage I agree with or not, it is criminal damage and not terrorism.
Yeah.
Which is why anyone should support the ruling, because the government, again, should not be able to make you persona non grata based upon the ideological positions that you take when other people do the same things that you do and they get prosecuted under normal laws rather than terror laws. That's as simple as that. Again, no one is saying that they support the actions of criminal damage. The reality, of course, is that the jury will find them whether they are criminal or not based upon the legal frameworks we have right now, where there are legitimate reasons where people might get off from jury trials. Quote, take note of that, the things that the government is trying to get rid of based upon the utilitarian ends with which they are engaging in that criminal damage.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And look, I'll go further. You say no one is supporting the criminal damage. I'll put it this way. I would never encourage anyone to commit a crime. Okay? I genuinely wouldn't. You take a great deal of risk, as we are seeing with these people. You take a great deal of personal risk in doing so. I'm not going to encourage anyone to do so. But if someone does it in the cause of trying to stop a genocide, I doff my cap to you. I think it's a very noble self-sacrifice you're making in this process, without which it would be difficult for change to happen, because virtually every major change that's ever happened in British history was brought about by some amount of violence. It just was. Very, very few things ever happened because people asked nicely that the establishment stop doing the thing that the establishment were doing because they wanted to do it.
Quite so.
Well, I think the government have been completely shamed in court, and I'm proud that the entire Green MP group all voted against proscription of Palestine Action.
Which, by the way, quick shout out to the Liberal Democrats. You don't get to get false acclaim for this, because during this, they've come out and said oh, we support the decision of the court, blah blah blah. your MPs abstained on this vote. You look, the most pussy Lib Dem bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Pathetic. They're waste of space.
Yeah, they're absolutely useless because they knew it was wrong and fucked up. But instead of standing on any kind of principle, they went, "Is there a third shit option that we can take?" And they went with that.
Criminal damage is committed, then of course people should face charges for that. I don't believe any protester commits criminal damage and doesn't think they'll be arrested.
True, chat. I would never encourage anyone to say, "I support Palestine action." I would never say that. Because me encouraging you to say it would be me encouraging criminality. So
Which is illegal.
It's illegal. I would never say that. Yeah.
Get arrested and thrown in jail.
Very
you do, yeah.
Different from terrorist activity.
The reason that I'm asking you about this is that you're talking about Britain as somehow near to being a police state, an oppressive state, in a world where, you know, we heard this morning Alex Navalny is thrown into prison, he's poisoned by the Kremlin, we think, where elections are rigged in Africa and Latin America, where people in China can't worship freely. Middle East, a journalist gets chopped into pieces in an embassy, and then you...
And we're allies with that nation.
Yeah.
You're okay with this?
Sold their weapons.
Yeah, we literally sell weapons that they can kill people, like, say, I don't know, the population of Yemen with. That sort of thing, Trevor. You see how it's connected? You can't just pick out individual instances of bad things happening elsewhere and go, see, it's fine here. We're the ones allowing it! We're the ones actively encouraging it by being acolytes with all of these fucking nations. By selling them weapons, by funding them, by buying their fucking oil, giving them diplomatic cover, constantly defending them at the UN, in the case of Israel especially. Like, you can't just point to everything and go, well, it's fantastic here. Yeah, I understand that the quality of life here is better than in most places in the world. As much as I complain about it because it could and should be better, it is better than most of other people who have ever existed in the history of mankind. I know that. But I'm not just going to go, well, I'm just going to accept my lot because the people of Saudi Arabia can't, you know, a woman in Saudi Arabia can't get a driver's license. So I'm just going to put up with the panopticon. No.
Paint this country as somehow oppressive. I mean, honestly, isn't that just completely wild?
No, I think...
Jesus Christ, this is journalism. Is this fucking journalism?
I mean, he is a member of the Labour Party.
Well, it's embarrassing. Isn't that wild? That's your fucking question. Out of all of the things you could have asked him about this series of different, like, comparisons to foreign countries, you're gonna do the thing that, like, a Twitch streamer would do and just go, oh, that's wild, man.
Literally, and again, at the end of the day, the point is just totally stupid because the framing that he is giving here is that there are two ends of this binary. There is totally free, everything goes, happy liberal democracy, and there is totalitarian Kremlin Jinping thought. And I'm like, no, there is a spectrum. There are different points along that spectrum, and we have moved significantly more authoritarian than our compatriots in Europe, for example.
Yeah.
We have moved significantly more authoritarian than we previously have been, especially pre-1997. Civil liberties are precious. If you give up any of your civil liberties, the next government down the line will think that they can go further. And they don't come back easily. Once a state, or indeed any entity, has that much power, how would you think that gets relinquished?
Yep.
It doesn't just get given back to you very freely. And you should give those up at your peril. It's why everybody who is crowing for leaving the ECHR or for more removals of human rights for people who they perceive as part of the outgroup, right? Again, they would do that to you if they thought they could get away with it. Just because you're the in-group now doesn't mean you won't be the out-group later.
Yeah, no right is ever guaranteed. From generation to generation, you are a custodian. And it's incumbent upon you not just to protect yourself, but future generations by protecting the rights of all of the people who are alive whilst you are alive.
What's wild is to see the road we're going onto, and there's the leader of a political party not to call it out. We say that Donald Trump...
We're not at that point in... You may say that's a...
This is such liberal wank! Oh, well, we're not... We haven't opened any camps yet, so let's do nothing to forestall that event.
Literally, it's like, well, not North Korea, so everything is fine. I'm just like, maybe there is a point between total anything goes liberal paradise and actual fucking North Korea where maybe we should at least push the brakes on the authoritarianism.
Honestly, he's just black XQC. Oh, this is wild, chat. Oh, no, that's wild, chat. Oh, wow. We're not North Korea, chat. Fucking hell.
Direction we're going into. But you're putting this country in the same bracket as those others I've just been talking about.
Well, you've just listed a whole list of human rights abuses, which are atrocious, including the horrific human rights abuses going on in Putin's Russia. I think it's right to condemn all of those things. I think it's also important, we heard the phrase earlier from Priti Patel, axis of authoritarianism. I think that was actually a good phrase, but you have to include the United States in that. We have ICE, who are essentially a paramilitary...
Zach, honestly, Zach, I will do fucking murders for you. I will actually commit high treasonous crimes for you. I love him. Saying the thing, pointing to the elephant in the room. We are literally the little bitch at the behest of the biggest war criminal ever. The United States. Who, by the way, is the one that could stop the genocide in Palestine. And he's going, nah, go on, Israel, this is hilarious. Honestly, I love him. By the way, I won't literally do murders for him. I was being hyperbolic for effect. In case the police want to look under my patio. I wouldn't.
Organisation on the streets, killing people in cold blood.
We haven't got ICE in this country.
Well, we have the UK, though, saying that Donald Trump is a reliable ally and we have a special relationship.
People say what they like. The point is we do not have people on the street whipping kids off the street into vans and shooting them. We just don't have it.
Well, we do have migration raids, and if we have, we just heard reform.
I was about to say, no, we literally do have that. It's less, violent because they don't have guns, so that's nice. But they still, people still getting fucking raided left and right. There have been fucking flash mobs in various cities of local residents protecting people against it.
Mm-hmm.
This is not... what? Again, this is just... He lives in London. He lives in Westminster. Fucking Peter Mandelson was literally his best man at his wedding. He's that person. He's just a London insider. Anything that ever happens outside the M25, he has no knowledge of or interest in.
And we know they're going down that road too. The problem here is Labour, at every single opportunity, whenever Nigel Farage says jump, they say how high. You will never appease the right by doing that. They will just get more and more extreme. And in Reform, we see an extreme political party. You just had Zia Youssef on, who people will be disgusted to hear his comments on poverty. People up and down this country who can't pay the bills, whose bills are rising up, who can't feed the kids. To hear a politician, who we should say is a millionaire, sit in this chair and say there's only small pockets of poverty in this country, I wonder how people in Gorton and Denton will hear that.
Yeah. Obviously we can't get into...
What's interesting...
Hang on, we can't get into that. No, heaven forbid we talk about poverty, eh? Fucking hell.
Well, what's interesting is that lots of that wasn't really an answer to the question that was asked, but Zach understands the brief.
Yeah.
He understands that no motherfucker is watching this shit other than people like us.
Yeah.
If he wants to convince people, he just needs to say a thing that he can clip and put on TikTok. And that's the brief.
Yep. I've got no problem. I love it. Literally. It's so important. Look, again, it's the Rosa Luxemburg thing. Point to the thing that's happening. You can't just go, well, North Korea's bad. America literally just abducted a world leader. That literally just happened. And we're not even talking about that anymore. He's still on trial in America for owning guns.
As a head of state.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For a start off, I'm not sure your gun laws have any jurisdiction in downtown Caracas. And secondly, I thought the Second Amendment was a core part of American culture. Why are you against him having guns? It's mental.
Well, to be fair, Trump was the one who said about the guy who was killed by ICE. He was like, it was a terrible thing, but I don't like the fact that he had a gun. Motherfucker, you are literally the king of the gun country.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, he has had people shooting at him in recent times, so he's probably a little bit wary.
True.
Some people with terrible fucking aim. Just saying.
The by-election. Let me take you on to perhaps more familiar territory, or what we assume is more familiar territory. This week, Sky has been highlighting the scourge of fly tipping.
No, we can't talk about poverty. Let's talk about fucking fly tipping. Oh my, that's embarrassing. We don't have time to talk about Gorton and Denton. We shouldn't ever talk about anything economic. No, let's talk about people doing littering. Fucking, I'm not even saying it's not an important issue, but that's some shit that a council deals with. You're supposed to be, you're a national leader of a party with an important by-election coming up that they're one of the major parties in. You're going to ask him about fucking fly tipping? This is wank. Like, this is, even for fucking Trevor Phillips, this is seriously fucking grotty.
What about rat tipping?
Look, me and the rats have come to an accord. We're at peace, okay? It's fine. Don't start, right?
As an environmental party, what would you do about that if you were in government?
Gulags. Yeah. Can't fly tip in a gulag. Just saying.
True.
Well, the first thing we need to do is make sure that people have accessible ways to make sure that they're disposing of their waste. This is a huge issue. It's often...
No. There's no such law that says they can't talk about Gorton and Denton. Absolutely not. No. That's bollocks. No. Before a general election, there are certain restrictions on what can and can't be said, and they've got to give appropriate time to the major parties and blah blah, all that shit. But it's a by-election. They could absolutely talk about it. There's no legal basis for them not talking about that. No.
Described as antisocial behaviour, and I know from when I go out canvassing, it's often disgusting and makes the whole area feel a lot less livable in, and there's also lots of evidence to show that that can also increase crime. What we can't do, though, is just point fingers and say it's antisocial behaviour if after decades of austerity, there's not suitable ways for people to dispose of waste.
Honestly, this is such a good comment in chat. It's meant as a sort of joke, I think, but Dr. Phil Decker says, to be fair, nothing turns me from an anarchist into a fucking eco-Stalinist like cunts fly tipping in my area. I'd have them in Siberia forever in a fucking eye blink. That's sort of my point, right? I don't want the state doing fucking anything outside of like providing services. I don't want them having authority or imposing their will and stuff over people. But I get to the point where antisocial behaviour, and I don't just mean things like fly tipping. I mean like, so it's literally every 30 minutes it cuts out for 10 seconds. That's not
very weird, isn't it?
That has to be like an internet company thing, surely, because it's so regular. Anyway. At what point did I cut out for you? Because I was on a fucking roll then. I was on a major roll.
I can't remember, but I'm very sure that your chat enjoyed it.
They probably didn't, because it went off for them. It happens here. Like, literally my 2 streams just fucking die for 10 seconds. It's mad. Anyway, basically, antisocial behaviour, including fly tipping, but also including billionaires existing, should be punished very harshly. If you can't live if you can't exist in peace and freedom, you have that peace and freedom taken from you. If you're going to be irresponsible and be a wanker, you get punished for it. I'm sorry. It's really annoying, because it's not just that you're being a selfish bastard. You're imposing your will on other people, and that's not okay.
It's just frustrating. Again, it shouldn't have to be policed. We shouldn't have to police the social behaviour of community, right? But in a post-neoliberal world, there is no such thing as society. People don't feel like they have a connection to society, and they feel like it's somebody else's problem to clean it up. Well, and that is and we shouldn't have to police this. But if it's going to be a world where people don't, until we have fixed the social decay that's led us here, it's going to have to be policed, isn't it?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, antisocial behaviour was always existed, even pre-neoliberalism, but it's certainly got a lot worse. Yeah, 100%. And of course, the things that used to cover those problems up, in the sense that like a council that could actually pick up fly-tipped materials, is all those safety nets have been destroyed by neoliberalism. So not only do we have more fly tipping, we have less ability to deal with fly tipping when it happens.
Yep.
Again, it's the false economy of austerity yet again, because eventually it's going to have to be dealt with. It's just going to cost more later. This is neoliberalism, right? It's literally make a future generation pay for our short-term selfish aims. That's all it is.
I think more than anything, it's making sure that the big polluters are also being taxed properly, so the way that things are disposed of is part of the full circular economy, so that's also being paid from by the producers.
Yeah.
So wouldn't the simpler answer be just a straightforward improvement of surveillance, for example?
Oh my fucking god! I genuinely, Phillips, you are one of the first going into the gulag. I swear to fucking god, mate. You absolute fucking melter. Literally, like, he's literally just explained to you that it's a much bigger issue than just an individual person dropping a fucking sofa on a piece of empty ground or whatever. It's like, it's a whole holistic thing that we have to deal with in order to stop this problem from happening. And you're just like, have we thought about the panopticon to stop people, dashing an old fucking mattress into an alleyway? You fucking briefcase cunt. I fucking hate you. Sorry, I had to get some shit off my chest.
You talk about Big Brother, but sometimes it's worthwhile.
Well, I think
for fly tipping, it's not even like the old sentence of those that sacrifice freedom for safety deserve none and will end up with none. Right? It's so true. But he's not even doing it for like safety. He's doing it for, well, I don't want some litter in my community. As if he lives in a community that gets fucking fly tipped anyway.
So true.
He lives in fucking Belgravia or some shit.
Yeah, I'm sure his penthouse is regularly festooned with litter.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the amount of graffiti. Oh, fuck off, mate. Like, you don't live in...
Panopticon, let's go.
Yeah, so he wants... In order to stop fly tipping in fucking Northamptonshire, he wants a fucking police officer on every street corner. Fuck me. I mean, he's just... The liberal mind needs to be analysed, because there's a disease here. It has to be.
Literally.
Into an arms race of surveillance, and ultimately people will always try and find ways to avoid things.
Lord of the fly tips!
24/7,
That,
all the time, then
can we get a round of applause? I'm sorry, Lord of the fly tips. That is fucking excellent. You get a salute. That's beautiful work, Oliver.
I often think that has to be the last resort. I'd much rather look at behaviour change and get people to feel pride in their place, and I think you do that by investing in the community, making sure you have a community centre, that people know their neighbours, and sure, there can sometimes be a role for surveillance, but it should be the first place we go.
So, how about replacing fields with minefields? That'd stop it. That's a great suggestion.
I mean,
look, if we're gonna do military Keynesianism, at least put those landmines to good use.
And I just as long as someone just make sure Theresa May knows before she goes for a frolic.
What a callback!
Deep cut.
Love it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
You've heard a reference to the Gorton and Denton by-election there. 11 candidates are running in that seat,
and most of them are Tories. And then
Did you see the Communist League guy is a fucking like mega Zionist?
What?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Of all of the people that would be a Zionist in that list, you would think the communists definitely wouldn't be. What? How does the state of Israel line up with a stateless, classless society? How does that work?
I honestly, I do not know.
Is it just because of the kibbutzes? Or kibbutz? So I don't know what the plural. I thought that was the people.
I think it can be both. I can both be the
Is
kibbutz
it?
dwellers
Okay.
and
Well, okay. Is it the kibbutzim, the kind of vaguely socialistly structured farms? Is that it? Is that what he thinks communism is? I don't know. Also, yes, his name is Hugo. Now, you could be a working class lad called Hugo, and if you are, that's a shame. But like, if I see a Hugo or a Tarquin, I know their parents were cousins, definitely, 100%, and they lived on an estate, but not the kind of estate I live on. Anyway, Okie dokie. From that award-winning journalism, should we do some other award-winning journalism?
This time, fewer people who've had Peter Mandelson as the best man at their wedding.
Yeah, well, indeed. Unless Emily Thornberry's got... or Billy Bragg.
Skeletons in the closet.
Imagine if Billy Bragg had it was his fucking...
Even Jake Berry.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Ready to fight? The Prime Minister says
Well, he certainly isn't ready to fucking read.
Europe must be prepared to battle for its people and its principles. But Sir Keir Starmer is locked in a struggle for his party too. Live from a gathering of world leaders in Germany, the Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, joins us. And
Absolute monster. The person
Literally.
who unlawfully prescribed a group as a terrorist because they terrorised some metal.
trying to knock her off the same spot, her opposite number for the Conservatives, Dame Priti Patel.
Oh,
And the
she's
author
a
of
dame now. Oh, no.
A landmark review about young people who question their gender tells us kids have been misled and misused by both sides of a toxic debate.
Oh, God, she's going to both sides it. Oh, I fucking hate the world.
Children have been weaponised.
Weaponised?
Yeah, I think so. By some people. By people at the extremes. The vast number of people in the middle are silent.
And my team at the desk for the next
Centrism.
hour, a Dame,
Also, I like that they've got them in height order. That's nice.
a Sir and the Bard of Barking, Labour's Emily Thornberry, Chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, Sir Jake Berry, former Tory Minister, now in Reform UK, and Billy Bragg, singer, songwriter and activist. Morning, morning. Let's start, as we always do, with what is making the news today. And several of the front pages, the Sunday Telegraph and the Sunday Times, report the Foreign Secretary with us today has said the Russian activist Alexei Navalny was killed by the Kremlin using frog poison. The Sunday Times also has more on its story, accusing...
Frog poison? That's an interesting one. They are. I'll give the Kremlin one thing. They are creative.
Essence du Macron.
Exactly. I didn't realise they had a poison just for French people. And where can I get hold of it?
A Labour group with ties to Keir Starmer's backers of spying on its reporters. The Sunday Mirror says a new book reveals Prince William's agony when his wife Catherine was diagnosed with cancer. But on the inside of the Mirror, a story we know lots of you have been following carefully, a vow from the Tech Secretary Liz Kendall that a social media ban for kids could happen within months. Then there's a stylish picture on the front of The Observer of the gold medalist skeleton racer Matt Western, and of course the front of the Scotsman, a glorious victory for Scotland in the rugby and England's tragic defeat. Couldn't help mentioning that one this morning. Happens so rarely. Welcome to all three of you. Emily, this is a serious moment and also a very serious statement from the UK and other governments yesterday, confirming that Alexei Navalny...
Not just luge, but all of those fucking sledding events. Like, you are inches from the ice in a leotard going at 200 miles an hour. No. Why is anyone doing that? Don't do that. Look, at least in a bobsled, you're in a sled. You're on a fucking tea tray.
Navalny was killed by the Kremlin and with this frog poison. With your experience of foreign affairs, does that surprise you at all?
I wasn't surprised. I mean, I assumed that he had been killed by Putin.
It's that's so cynical. It's just he's just very lucky that all of the people he wants to die randomly die. All of them keep falling out of windows or drinking frog poison. It's just,
Yeah,
he has the best luck. He really does, you know.
somebody pointed out in chat as well, like Russia like to kill people in ways that make it extremely clear that literally only Russia could have done it and nobody else, which is quite funny, really.
Yeah, usually it's like there's some question as to who did it or why, but no, the Russians are just like, you know what? Let's leave a calling card.
Let's use a nerve agent that literally no other country in the world uses.
Yeah, and then leave it so that it kills a random person in the town. And then, by the way, one of the two people who did that poisoning is now in the Duma. They're a member of the Russian Parliament.
Yep.
As you do. Very, very normal.
And he was the leader of the opposition, and they had him in their power. He was in prison, and suddenly he dies, and they go, "Oh, he's had a heart attack." Nobody believed it. So to actually see the evidence,
like Jeffrey Epstein did, you know. Just saying.
Is very important. And of course, the Russians will deny it, and the Russians will lie. But I mean, how is a guy in a gulag going to be getting himself poisoned by poison coming off the skin of a frog from South America that needs to be in the wild in order to produce the poison? I mean, that's it.
Successive governments, Jake, have struggled though with how to deal with Putin, how far to go in terms of sanctions, how far to go in terms of the consequences. What do you think the consequences should be this time?
Well, if you look at the attempted murder of the Skripals, and in fact the murder of a British citizen in 2018 in Salisbury, the then Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson worked with governments around the world for the largest single expulsion of Russian diplomats, I think, since the Second World War. It does seem that there could be an opportunity for our government, the British government, to look at something similar. Because let's not forget, it's not just our Foreign Secretary.
Would the American version of this be killing someone with a hamburger? Sure. Yeah, if someone had a poisoned hamburger, you'd be like, that's the CIA. Definitely. There's no way it's not.
It's incredible that you should say that, because I literally just was scrolling Twitter, and the first thing on my feed was an American looking at a big Gothic cathedral and filming it from the perspective of McDonald's next door. And it's just like, Americans enjoying European architecture. So imagine eating a burger here.
Look, exactly. I've travelled the world. I've eaten McNuggets on the Great Wall. Okay, I've had a quarter pounder at the fucking Sears Tower. You know, the pyramids. I had some fries at the pyramids. It was lovely. They were really salty.
Who has said that he was murdered. There's a collective group of foreign secretaries, I think, in Denmark and other countries around the world, who have come together on this with this correct conclusion that Russia is murdering its citizens, which are,
Okay, so, like, given that we're soft on Russia in the Greens, apparently, is anyone going to ask him about his current party leader who actually likes Vladimir Putin?
Indeed. Or the fact that we take all of these strong positions, all of these foreign secretaries across Europe have taken incredibly strong positions over countries killing their own citizens, right? Through extrajudicial executions like with Putin and Navalny. And yet, those same extrajudicial executions carried out on citizens which are illegally occupied by Israel does not warrant any similar response.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Five independent
action
labs.
must be taken.
Billy, just let's think about Navalny himself for a moment. I was lucky enough to meet his wife.
I like Billy Bragg, so I don't want to rag on him, but, like, why have you got Billy Bragg on to talk about Alexei Navalny? Like,
well, what they've got. Well, the thing is, they are contractually required to have the Green Party at some point represented in their political broadcasting. So they have to get somebody on with the links to the party, and they can't get on with anybody serious.
Yeah,
they have to include people that make us look like a joke. And I'm not saying that Billy Bragg is a joke himself, but he's not a politician, he's a musician. Yes. And that's the problem. And when we have plenty of academics or economists, or indeed potential working class MP candidates who are politicians who could be here to represent us, but they don't want us to look like a serious political party. They want to look us like a hobby horse of artists and kind of celebrities who are interested in politics. And first of all, hobby horses are for Ed Davies doing political adverts.
True.
And second of all, we have actual politicians.
Literally.
wife, Yulia Navalnaya, who's an incredibly dignified and strong woman. What kind of example do you think he set?
Incredibly brave, having been already poisoned by him in the incident in the aircraft, to then go back to Russia. You know, it's an incredible thing. The documentary he made, he foresaw this, he talked about this. And I think he's an example to, you know, freedom fighters everywhere to want to go back to do that. But I do wonder that this should be a headline this weekend, because it, you know, with all respect to Navalny and the family, this is not really news, isn't it? This is the kind of, turns out the Pope's Catholic. We know that he's been poisoned. Why would it be this weekend? Why, whilst the foreign secretaries are all in Europe talking about defence, is this part of a very subtle way of turning the attention of the European people towards the fact that we are going to have to stand up against Russia at some point in the future? And I think this might be part of a softening up of public opinion, so that we can start to justify the amount of money we're going to need to spend on defence if we are going to, and I think we should, defend ourselves from the threat that's posed by Putin.
I think also his death was announced at the Munich conference.
Also,
2
again,
years
like,
ago.
no, there's
So
just
I
no
think that-
threat. There's this, this idea that somehow we need a giant ramping up of military capabilities to defend Europe from Russia. We already outnumber and outgun Russia militarily collectively as Europe. It's nonsense to say somehow that we need to spend significantly more for protection.
Yeah. Also, that was a bit more of a hawkish answer from Billy Bragg than I was expecting, if I'm entirely honest.
I mean, it's not, again, I don't disagree with the idea that it's necessary to get people to understand the reality of what a belligerent state on the borders of Europe would mean for us. But, like,
yeah,
again, he's still leaning into this idea that somehow Russia is on the brink of an invasion of the green and pleasant land, rather than stuck in the quagmire of a 4 year long.
No, it's been so
3-day
ridiculous.
special operation.
Yeah. Literally, it's lasted more years than the days he said it was going to last. Which yeah.
I mean, hasn't it? It's almost lasted as long as the First World War.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, 4 years.
It was July to November, so it'll come up in like June, July time. By the time that they've gone,
yeah, it doesn't look like they're close enough to a peace deal that's going to stop by then. So yeah. And it's just been one long sum of like fucking trench warfare over like land that's completely destroyed now anyway. They're fighting over nothing, basically.
Well, Russia are fighting over the land bridge to Crimea. That's literally the only reason that they're still fighting.
Yeah, which is odd because they've got an actual bridge now from near Rostov across the Sea of Azov, so they don't even need it really.
Well, that was blown up by the Ukrainians.
True, but they can fix it.
It's true, but it's easier to transport stuff across a very large land bridge than a very tiny,
not land bridge. Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of brings the story into full circle.
And it's a powerful statement, isn't it? The fact that you have this collective statement, not just by the British Foreign Secretary, but by foreign secretaries from across Europe. It's a powerful show of collective support for his widow, but also a really powerful statement that Russia will find it very hard to deny, although of course they will deny it.
Well, let's get on then and talk to the Foreign Secretary, because for well over a year, politicians passing through here have been telling you and me that the world is getting more dangerous and more uncertain. So that means, they say, more defence spending and more honesty about what's really at stake. The Prime Minister and Yvette Cooper, his Foreign Secretary, have been at the Munich Security Conference this weekend.
Oh, look, there's that flag that she has the bunting of. Oh, okay. Cool.
She's never going to lift that down.
No, I will never, ever let these people forget this. If you're going to lie that blatantly, like, you deserve to be rinsed from now to the end of time.
Yeah, like Mike Tapp will be the English breakfast guy. Theresa May will be red, white, and blue Brexit. Like the absolute fucking dog shit that our politicians expect us to believe and accept in terms of what they say to us. Again, I'm just sick of the political class treating the entire population like we're fucking idiots.
Yes.
Times more comfortable at big diplomatic get-togethers than at home, told his fellow leaders that Britain and its allies had to be ready for war. Well, what did he mean? Let's ask the Foreign Secretary, who's with us this morning from Munich, in what happens to be, in fact, her first interview with us as Foreign Secretary. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Cooper.
Going to talk to her about her missteps as Home Secretary at any point? Going to mention that, maybe?
What will the consequences be for the Kremlin. Now this information about Navalny has confirmed what most people suspected, that the Kremlin was responsible.
Well, it is deeply serious, and the statement that we made yesterday shows that we have the evidence. We have been pursuing the truth on this since Alexei Navalny died in prison, and that was announced at the Munich Security Conference 2 years ago. And we have been working with European partners to pursue this evidence. And what it...
No, just like Jeffrey Epstein, he committed suicide, okay? That's a fact. He decided to randomly lick a frog to end his pain. That's what happened.
Showed is that lethal poison, that lethal toxin, was found in Alexei Navalny's body at the point at which he died, and Russia, only the Russian regime, had the means, the motive, and the opportunity to administer this poison while he was
That's like
in
Cluedo
a Russian
now.
prison.
Yeah, circumstantial evidence, innocent.
It's like the means, the means, the method, and the motive, and I'm just like, okay, so Colonel Mustard got Navalny with the frog poison in the fucking study. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And it shows really the willingness by the Russian regime to use these lethal...
Do you know Cluedo was invented in Birmingham?
I did not know that.
Little known fact for you. Yeah. There's a couple during the Second World War in their Anderson shelter to stave off boredom. They created a game, and then gave the rights to it away for nothing. They earned fuck all.
lethal toxins against their own citizens, to use this in the most careless of ways. But we know that it is evidence too of the aggression that unfortunately is going to be continuing.
Oh shit, bollocks.
Russian prison, and it shows...
Anyway, what this makes me to think now is I'm just slightly more scared of frogs than I was 10 minutes ago.
True. Definitely not visiting Russia anytime soon.
Yeah, because I presume British frogs, like British snakes and British spiders, are fucking shit. They're not going to fucking kill anything.
Like, we do really do luck out in this country. They're just... We are in the significantly far north of most countries in the world, and yet because we just happen to be by the Gulf Stream, we have like a normal, kind of reasonably kind of temperate climate. We just have no poisonous animals really in this country at all.
No. Nothing that's really going to kill it. Like, the worst thing that can happen is what? A bird shits on you? That's about it, really. Maybe a fox could give you a nasty nip, but most of them run away, so they're not going to fucking do anything. Like, the worst animals are ones that humans have specifically bred to be aggressive cunts. Like, the natural habitat here is about as safe as it gets. Yeah, we have grass snakes, but like none of them gonna do anything to you. Ass snakes are shit. Like in Australia, they've got spiders that can like fucking kill a horse. In Britain, we've got ass spiders are rubbish. Yeah, that's right. I'm calling out British spiders. You shit.
Literally. But on top of like the luck that our country has in terms of its placement and everything, right? Like we're easily defendable as an island nation, but not so far away as an island that it's difficult to be able to trade with other countries. We have giant oil and coal deposits that we then fucking incinerated for nothing. It's incredible just how lucky we are as a country in terms of the geography and the reality of what it's like to live here as a polity. And we have taken every opportunity to fuck it all up.
Yeah, the only predators we have in this country are members of the aristocracy.
Really, the willingness by the Russian regime to use these lethal toxins against their own citizens, to use this in the most careless of ways. But we know that it is evidence too of the aggression that unfortunately is going to be continuing. And perhaps the most significant broader point here is that
also,
recognise...
Can we also point out, look, this doesn't mean he deserved to get murdered, but Navalny wasn't a hero. Navalny was also like an ultra-nationalist piece of shit. He was a racist prick. He was a threat to Putin. That's the only thing he got killed for, right?
Yeah, I guess he believed in democracy more than Putin did. Wow, what an incredible feat that he has achieved.
Wow. So he believed in democracy more than the man that rigs elections so badly that they announce election results half an hour before the polls are supposed to close. Wow, yeah, that's okay. I mean,
otherwise known as doing an Assad.
Yeah, exactly.
That Cold War peace dividend that we had all believed in and hoped for has gone. And
well, at least in part, because we could have welcomed the Russian people into the nation of the family of nations of the world, but instead we went, we won, so we get to just fucking rape all of your natural resources now. Neoliberalism. And
Hope you enjoy destitution.
And then the fucking life expectancy dropped by a decade. That's the average life expectancy in Russia is now a decade less than under the terrible communisms, right? And you wonder why people have gravitated to supporting a mentalist. You destroyed their country. Because, again, they got higher on post-Cold War victory fucking coke.
We need to be ready for Russian aggression continuing towards Europe, being pursued in different ways, and we need to be ready to respond to that.
So what exactly are the consequences going to be for the Kremlin as a result of this announcement about Navalny's death?
So the group of...
So, I'm sure she's making some terrible point about something. I'm not listening. It's people giving the ways in which they've been slightly annoyed by wildlife in the UK in my chat. I don't mind foxes. I'd rather they stop shagging in my garden. Fair enough. I've been mildly inconvenienced by an unusual amount of grouse in Wales. Sorry, I'm very much enjoying the tales of the Wild West of Britain. Yes.
European ministers has now reported this to the Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons for them to pursue, because we see this as a clear breach of the chemical weapons international rules.
This is just anti-frog propaganda at this point. What do you mean? The frog can't help it. It's just got that much riz. It kills people. What? You're gonna fucking try and go, you're gonna get the toxin police on them. Fuck off.
And convention. So we do want to see action there, holding some accountability.
But what should it be? Are you going to look at kicking out diplomats, perhaps? Are you going to summon the Russian ambassador? What specific action are you going to take as a result of this?
We continue to look at coordinated action, including increasing sanctions on the Russian regime. As we have been pursuing this as part of our response to the brutal invasion.
Sorry, I'm genuinely not listening to this cunt. I'm just not.
Please, do they talk about Palestine action? Please, I want to see her sad. I want to see her miserable.
That would be good. But apparently, I love Way with a Story, my parasocial PA, who is telling me it's T-1 minute until I cut out again. She's got a fucking timer!
You have a very dedicated viewer base. It's true.
Yeah.
Invasion of Ukraine, where we are also coming up to the 4th anniversary of that invasion as well. So we believe that it's the partnerships that we build abroad that make us stronger at home. So it is by acting alongside our European allies, alongside allies across the world, that we do maintain that pressure on the Russian regime. Already we have seen the strong economic pressure is having an impact on the Russian economy and on the Russian regime, and we will continue to do things like provide the military support to Ukraine, but we also need to make sure that we are vigilant against the kinds of hybrid threats, the other kinds of different threats from Russia. And the other thing that I would say specifically about Alexei Navalny is one of the things he said was, tell the truth, spread the truth, because that is the most dangerous weapon of all. That was his comment about the Russian regime. He is no longer able to do that, but that is why we are continuing to do that for him and for his widow as well.
You were alongside the Prime Minister yesterday when he gave a very serious and significant speech about foreign policy, and he said we must build our hard power, we must be ready to fight. Now, that's very stark language. What are you telling everybody watching this morning to be ready for?
Well, we are, of course, increasing our defence investment and increasing our partnerships with European allies. So, for example, we are now building joint frigates with the Norwegians to be able to respond to threats from the...
We don't even make our own ships anymore. We've got to get the Ouija's in. Unbelievable. That seems like that could be a racist phrase. Should we invent a racist phrase for Norway? Fucking Ouijas!
Russian Northern Fleet through the maritime routes down into the Atlantic. It's important that we have that in place. This is about ensuring that we have a strong deterrence in place, but also strong vigilance and strong surveillance, because it's if we have those strong partnerships, those strong security alliances, that we also deter the threats and we protect our national security as well. But it goes back to this point. We had hoped after the Cold War that that threat to Europe, to UK security would go away. It hasn't. It is back. And that's why we always need to be ready and vigilant to be able to respond.
Yay, Cold War 2, electric boogaloo. Fuck's sake.
Go.
And the Prime Minister yesterday said that the UK would be sending gunboats and I think dozens of jets to the high north, to the North Atlantic, to help patrol in that part of the world. And I think we can see some pictures of one of the...
Wow, who are we protecting against? What nation has been making threats against land occupied by, or that is a part of a European nation in the North Atlantic recently?
No, whoa. You trying to imply that there's something potentially unhappy about our special relationship?
But heaven forfend. Clearly it must be Iran that has threatened Greenland in the recent past. Or Russia, maybe, I don't know.
China.
Vessels that is being sent there, the HMS Prince of Wales.
If you're a dickhead stood at the fucking shoreline with a little flag as a ship goes past, I hope you drown. You're a dickhead. You're an actual knobhead.
But just to press you on this point, what are you telling people to be ready for when the Prime Minister says we must be ready to fight? A lot of people might watching thinking, hang on, is Keir Starmer telling us there's going to be a war that will directly affect us here in this country, beyond the kind of impacts you've seen from Ukraine, which of course hit our energy bills? What exactly are you saying to people?
Well, what we're saying is that by increasing our investment in defence, by ensuring that we have the readiness to be able to respond, and I would say...
Also, again, just to point out, not a single question on the massive ramping up of military spending. At a time when we have schools that are still falling down, fucking housing that's covered in cladding that's flammable as fuck, a nation's entire fucking infrastructure crumbling before our eyes, shit in our waters to the point where we're being told you have to boil tap water. But apparently we can afford tens of billions extra on top of what we already spend on a military that we've never used defensively since the Second World War.
And that's what's crazy as well, is that no one's also talking about the fact that a ramping up of military, essentially an escalatory military investment, an arms race, that ends with conflict, right? But de-escalating the arms race is how you avert conflict. But this fucking peace through strength bullshit that's never been true has suddenly become political groupthink.
Well, that's what I mean. It's Cold War too. It's not just the same dynamics that led to the same authoritarian control mechanisms, but it's the same fucking reason that they're able to ramp up military spending. Because it's the same threat. And it's literally the same country-ish. I mean, obviously the Estonia, for instance, we mentioned earlier, was a part of the USSR, but largely speaking, the same country. So it's just the same dynamic. It's everything. It's fucking awful. And it didn't work the fucking first time. It was a waste of money on both sides. Literally, the quality of life for everybody in the second half of the 20th century was worse because of the Cold War. Both sides spent trillions on weapons they never used and were never going to use.
Well, there's a really great Carl Sagan bit where he talks about how the amount of GDP of the United States that was spent on the Cold War was equal to every single asset in the country added up together apart from the land.
Yeah.
Like $3 trillion or something stupid like that, which was insanely more in like the 80s.
Yeah.
When he was doing this speech, right? And it was like, well, if you were so certain that, how certain were you that the Cold War would have led to an escalatory conflict? Yet, compare that to your level of certainty with regards to climate change. Maybe one of these things, which is more certain than the other, requires just as much investment, and when the consequences are so much more cataclysmic, if you are correct about the likelihood they are of becoming reality.
Well, to put it in the way that I think Richard Tice would, cold, stupid war. Yeah.
So true. And just in general, I said before about arms races leading to conflict. Countries don't like going to war. I don't know how how I can explain this to these military people, but in fact, as we have seen from what's happening in the Russian economy and Russian society, and indeed the support for the president right now in Russia, not going particularly well. It's not been good. It's not been a good thing that they have done, especially when it's been a 4-year-long fucking grind fest rather than the military operation they said it would be. It's huge amounts of resources. Has not gained them anything really, either geopolitically or economically. It has isolated them and forced them into weirdo alliances that are not long-term sustainable. And again, the only way in which that you force people into wanting to do these invasions is through a ramping up and an arms race in the other direction. This is you need to de-escalate, because otherwise people will want to find a use for all the money that they've incinerated on weapons.
How much money do you think the United States has spent since 1945 on the Cold War? Sometimes I ask this question, and from the back of the audience comes an answer: billions and billions. The amount of money that the United States has spent on the Cold War since 1945 is approximately $10 trillion. Trillion, that's the big one, with the T.
And this would have been 10 trillion by the standards of, what, the 80s when he was saying this?
Yeah.
1990. So, like, that's... How many more times trillions is that now?
Yeah, inflation, yeah.
What could you buy for $10 trillion? The answer is...
the moon!
You could buy everything in the United States except the land. Everything. Every building.
And that's because Bill Gates owns all of that. So it's just everything else.
Truck, bus, car, boat, plane, pencil, baby's diaper. Everything in the United States except the land. That's what we've spent on the Cold War. So now let me ask, how certain was it that the Russians were going to invade? Was it 100% certain? Guess not, since they never invaded. What if it was only, let's say, 10% certain? What would advocates of big military buildup have said? They would have said, we must be prudent. It's not enough to count on only the most likely circumstance. If the worst happens, and it's really extremely dangerous for us, we have to prepare for that. Remote contingencies, if they're serious enough, have to be prepared for. It's classic military thinking. You prepare for the worst case. And so now I ask...
I'm being told that $1 trillion today is worth... $1 trillion from 1990 is 2.48 trillion. So essentially $25 trillion by today's
It's crazy numbers.
That's ridiculous.
My friends who were comfortable with that argument, including the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal, why doesn't that same argument apply to global warming? You don't think it's 100% likely? Fine, you're entitled to think that. If it's only a small probability of it happening, since the consequences are so serious, don't you have to make some serious investment to prevent it?
He was saying this like he was so ahead of the game, because there was no one talking about this in 1990 in terms of politics, right?
I mean, Thatcher was talking about this stuff. Like, the idea that there was going to be a problem from...
Not as Prime Minister, she wasn't, I don't think.
Yeah, there was genuine stuff being talked about in the 80s. There was a fucking Back to the Future, like, straight to TV special, I believe, where they were talking about that. Or maybe it's a comic where they were talking about the threats of climate change. Yeah, like, people were well on the stuff. I mean, a bunch of the climate accords happened in the 90s with the banning of CFCs, wasn't it, within the 90s as well? Like,
that's true. That did happen.
Yeah. I mean, there was still talk about this, and again, there was just a giant, fucking huge, like, gargantuan lobbying effort from the petrochemical industry to make it into an individual problem rather than a state problem.
If you want to look into that, by the way, people, look up the origins of the phrase carbon footprint.
It makes you want to fucking scream.
Literally, they made it up because it isn't a thing. It's not real. It's bollocks. Your individual choices don't really make that much difference at all. That's not to say you shouldn't be cognizant of your choices and not make the problem worse, but don't ruin your life trying to chase this dream, because actually it's like 20 companies that are doing it, right? Your individual choices don't matter. The carbon company, these fucking evil bastards, the oil companies, got together and decided to individualise it so that you change all of your habits and they change nothing, and the problem doesn't go away. It gets worse. Just saying.
Or mitigate it. I think there's a double standard of argument working, and I don't think we should permit it.
Based. What a loss to humanity he was. Good lord.
He wasn't, yeah.
Oh well. Although he'd probably be dead by now anyway, but you know. Anyway, back to this maltiness.
Say that this does include the kinds of hybrid threats and sabotage, not just the traditional defence threats that often people are used to. By ensuring that we are ready to respond, we also help deter those threats as well. And it's only if we don't prepare, if we don't ensure that we are strong in our national security, in our combined security and defence partnerships with NATO and with our closer allies in Europe as well, if we ensure that we are strong in that response, that can also help deter threats as well. So it's that readiness that also makes us safer.
But when you look carefully at this and you talk to people in the defence world, yes, you have promised to increase defence spending in the short term, but you've promised it will be at 3% by 2030 if there's enough money around. You've promised it will be 3.5% of national income by 2035, with no detail of how it will be paid for. And the head of the armed forces recently told it.
Almost did the right thing there by pointing out the nonsense of it, of massive military spending with absolutely no fucking justification for it, and without any of the mathematics involved. Literally, the sums don't add up because they haven't been tried to add up.
Because it's all fucking posturing, isn't it? It's literally just red wall meat. It's slop.
Magic.
That's exactly
it's magic.
Policy slop.
Magic money tree bullshit.
Magic money slop.
True.
MPs,
The magic
we
slop
can't do
tree.
everything we would want to as quickly as we want to do it with the budget they have. Isn't it hollow to say to people, we must be ready to fight, and that's why we're looking at our defences.
Also, when they say we must be ready to fight, Keir Starmer's kids aren't going to fight. Yvette Cooper's kids aren't going to fight.
Nope.
No, they're going to go to college while your kid gets a fucking apprenticeship and then goes and dies in Ukraine.
Very carefully, but without giving us any idea of how you're going to pay for it in the long term.
Well, we've already set out as part of this spending review the biggest increase in defence investment.
But only
since
until
the Cold War.
2028, Yvette Cooper. And everyone watching knows it takes decades to get weapons or boats built, contracts ordered, and you've only spelled out how you'll do it for the next couple of years.
Well, we do, as part of the spending review, that's how governments work. You set out how you're going to increase investment over the next few years. And we do that at a time. But look, I'm clear we're going to need to go further. Of course, we will need to go further because we are going to need to strengthen our defence.
Hey, hello, Zakap. Everyone go and follow Zakap. They say, can I get sent to the class war? True.
The second best Zach that we know in our periphery.
Literally, yeah.
And our partnerships in order to be able to do so.
Trade-off come?
So we've already done that. We've already set out how we will do that first increase, that first boost. And it is a really substantial increase because that is the biggest increase we've seen since the Cold War. I think the cuts that we'd had to defence, the lower defence spending in the last decade clearly was a problem and wasn't thinking about the future and about those long-term challenges. We will need to go further. We will do that.
Literally, she's like, yeah, the Conservatives should have cut more welfare. They should have killed more poor people to fund the military-industrial complex.
You scared the shit out of them, by the way. She's doing the thing. Like, just fucking hell. Okay. Just a bit of a ramp up the thing. Don't go 100 miles an hour straight away.
It's out how that is going to be funded, but we've been clear. First of all, here's the first steps. This is the action we're taking, and also been clear that we are going to need to go further.
What did the Prime Minister mean yesterday when he said, we're not the Britain of the Brexit years anymore, integration is in all our interests, and the logic of defence is a collective effort? Did he mean some kind of European army? What was he telling people then?
Whose votes are he... Honestly, does he even know whose votes he's chasing? Because, like, it was a bad idea to fucking go on, do a Rivers of Blood parody act. But at least it made sense if you thought you were chasing that vote. Whereas now he's doing the exact opposite, which would obviously alienate every single person who would have liked that kind of rhetoric. So whose vote does he think he's trying to win, ever? He's deliberately trying to piss off every single group in the electorate.
Well, again, it's because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, as we now know.
Yeah. Also, because we know the Rivers of Blood stuff is not his natural thing. He was doing it to try and posture as a reform adjacent person, whereas we know he's like a very pro-integration EU fucking wanker. So this is like he's just reverting back to type in a way that destroys any attempt he ever had of winning any reform voters at all. It's so politically illiterate. It's ridiculous.
Well, again, because the blue Labour shit was never going to work for like one main reason, which is that when again people talk about the break between Labour and the working class, they mean boomers.
Yeah.
They mean boomers. That's what they mean. They mean boomers, right? And it's fine. There are both progressive and conservative boomers, but they are majority conservative. But this idea that like the Jonathan Hinder MPs have, they say, well, we can have like anti-woke socialism, some kind of third position, maybe? No.
A kind of national socialism, yeah?
Socialism with national characteristics. But the logic goes is that there are people from working class backgrounds who have been disabused with the Labour Party because of their social positions, their opinions on social issues, right? For example. And you can win them over with...
To quote that article, we spent too long talking about chicks with dicks.
Exactly. And he said, in an interview with The Spectator of all places, that we can have like a policy about making people have more respect in the workplace and a better workplace culture with more funding and better wages and industrial strategy while getting rid of the hyper liberal woke shit that everybody hates. And I'm like, that would work if the super woke liberal woke shit that everybody hates didn't apply to people who don't work. Because the vast majority of the people in this country that really have like a real kind of intense dislike of the hyper work stuff, they're all retired or close to retiring. They are not going to get swayed by labour market policy because it doesn't affect them. They're affected by NHS policy and the pension policy.
Yeah, literally.
It's why so much of the Labour Party going, oh, we're tanking the polls, what we're going to do, but look at the stuff we've done with the minimum wage and breakfast clubs. And I'm like, yes, you have done a bunch of policy that appeals to people who have jobs while trying to win over people who don't have jobs. And again, you shouldn't expect the retired to have jobs, but it's just the math isn't mathing, as the Americans would say.
Yeah, I was about to pull you up on that. De-yankification is something we take very seriously. Is that playing? Hello?
No, I think this is about how we strengthen our defence and security cooperation with our European partners. So, for example, the joint frigates that we are building with Norway, the fact that we have a joint expeditionary force that we lead that involves Nordic and Baltic states about what kind of rapid response might be needed in the event of a threat. The fact that we provide so much support for Ukraine, but the fact that we're going to need to do stronger defence procurement together to build make sure we can build our defence capabilities across Europe, working in that close partnership. I think that is just common sense, really. When you face the sorts of aggression from Russia that we have been talking about, we know it is those partnerships we build abroad that make us stronger at home. You can't just play a kind of isolationist game. You have to work when it comes to strategic defence. You have to work in partnership. It's what we've always done as part of NATO, but we need to strengthen the European part of NATO as well.
But the Prime Minister said
well,
he needed
congratulations to future Prime Minister Nigel Farage. Please, can I ask that you don't put me in the camps, just execute me straight away.
I would like to ask anyone who's watching from the Socialist Republic of Spain, if there is a chance of this happening, I would like to apply for a visa marriage at some point within the next 3 years.
Well, I've said this before. I'm fucking off to Ireland. So if anyone wants to do a sham marriage and get an Irish passport and come with me,
Well, Irish passport means EU passport, meaning it makes much easier for me
No.
to get to Spain. Let's fucking do it.
Well, exactly, yeah. Schengen and all that shit. Yeah, beautiful.
Or European NATO, but actually the point of NATO is the Atlantic Alliance, not the Mediterranean Alliance or the English Channel Alliance. Do you admit that actually Europe has to step up because America is stepping back?
Well, okay, but like, when Trump's gone, he's going to get replaced by like either a neocon Republican or a neocon liberal, I think. Because Trump is his own fucking weird thing. Like, we know what Vance actually is. We know what fucking Rubio actually is. They're not Trump people. Literally, Vance said Trump was fucking Nazi. It was ridiculous, right? Or fascist, as I should say.
It said America's Hitler.
America's
how we
Hitler,
described
yeah,
him
yeah.
for 70 years.
So, like, they're just going to get replaced with a neolib who's going to completely revert back to type, and they're going to be like, okay, you don't really have to go up to 5%. That's fine.
I mean,
And it's just it's just going to go back to the way it was, I think, really.
I think you will get kind of similar policies in terms of, you know, wanting manufacturing jobs back from JD Vance, from like his hillbilly elegy type stuff about.
Yeah.
But essentially, this is what's so weird is that, I mean, you see it with Maurice Glassman and Jonathan Hendren, people like that in the Labour Party too, the people who are close to Blue Labour, is they don't even seem to want manufacturing jobs back because they misbelieve, of course, that they're the good jobs. I mean, no, unionized jobs are good jobs. Manufacturing or not, it doesn't really matter. It's about the relationship between worker and capital, but whatever. But when it comes to the American right and some of these people, they want industry back because they perceive it to be the masculine jobs. Like, America and the West have been feminized by the service industry. It's a really fucking weird ideology that they have.
Yeah.
Like, you see it when remember that video of a man working with incredible OSHA violations on an oil rig with his shirt off?
Yes, yeah.
That went viral, going, men don't work like this anymore. We need to bring this back. And I'm like, no, we shouldn't bring this back, actually. We should bring back proper safety regulations rather than the ruthless exploitation of labour by capital.
Yeah.
Just because one of them you have this Protestant work ethic, masculinist bullshit
Yeah.
fantasy over.
Because the thing that happens that wasn't on that film is that, like, 2 days after that or whatever, he'll probably end up being dying because a massive piece of metal will go through his fucking chest. Because there's no safety there. Oh, it only takes one mistake for a fucking rig to go up your arse, you know.
It's just a weird fucking moralistic argument they have against automation, despite them loving AI, for example. So, no, well, if there's no human touch to it, and I'm just like, in fact, I think it's better if workers don't have to do these jobs that leads to a high chance of potential death. Actually,
No, what we should go
if
back
machines
to...
do this. I just hope the workers own the machines.
No, you know what I think should happen is we should start sending kids back up chimneys. It was character forming.
I mean, there was literally an article in the Telegraph called "In Defense of Child Labour," and I'm just like, this is the world we're living in. I mean, Arkansas legalized child labour.
Honestly, the person who wrote that article, give me their name. It's going on the list. The Tesco Gulag list, because that's fucking whack.
Literally.
Oh, here it. Oh, someone's actually found it in chat. Jesus Christ, that was ridiculously quick, which means you've got this bookmarked. You fucking weirdo. Angus Colwell, you're on the list, you cunt. Teenage employment is good for youngsters and the country. And they've literally... The photograph is the famous photograph from Oliver Twist, the movie.
Literally, yeah, it is.
It's... Oh my God. Like, when you don't realise that you're the monster when you've literally got a still from Oliver Twist. A cautionary tale about how the young people being used and abused in this way is bad for society by a man who was a social reformer who wanted to point out that children were being abused by the capitalist system. That thing. Yeah? Again, when will people realise that
Get some help.
when they read fiction, it's not really supposed to be a manual? You don't have to follow it. It's meant to be a cautionary thing.
Well, yeah, that's true. Again, true.
The Panopticon was not like an essay in favour of the Panopticon.
Well, the US is shifting its focus, and they've been very clear about that. They've also said how important the transatlantic alliance is to them, and also the NATO alliance at the core of that. And if you look at something like the Arctic security, for example, the threats from the Russian Northern Fleet...
Really? Russia are the threat in the Arctic? Have they been threatening to take over Greenland or something? Has that happened recently? Wow, we really need to protect against Russia.
Yeah, they're the real big threat to Northern Europe.
That is a threat to the Atlantic, that is a threat to the US and to Canada, as well as
But lots
to
of people thought
Western
Donald
Europe
Trump was
as well.
the threat to Greenland because he was going around saying he wanted to get his hands on
Oh
sovereign
my god! Oh my god! A journalism! Oh, a rupture! A geyser of journalism's just sprung forth from the land. Amazing.
That sounds time to bring out the award ceremony.
Honestly, give her a fucking Oscar. Let's go.
the world, a sovereign territory.
And that's why we argued strongly for the sovereignty of...
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You went, no, Denmark owns that, Mr. Trump. Sorry. So did we... I don't want to disagree with you too much. To quote them, verbatim.
Greenland, we were very clear that that was an absolute principle, why we were very clear about that, and why we also argued, and I think successfully, that our Arctic security is a collective security issue. It is a transatlantic issue.
Oh, she said it's trans. She said it's trans. You all heard her. Woke.
The issues, though, that's where the...
Does the Arctic have pronouns in bio now, does it?
The most direct threat comes to the eastern side of Europe.
My pronouns are NATO.
10 years,
He literally identifies as an attack helicopter. Literally.
the US was funding almost 3/4 of NATO.
Yeah, and it had 100% of the power. It was getting a great deal. What the fuck are you talking about? The fact that we paid for our own subjection is embarrassing.
Literally.
So the investment. So they invested 75% and got 100% return. That's a great investment. Yeah.
Even though some of those threats are directly at the eastern side of Europe. So it is legitimate to say...
Guess what the T in NATO stands for?
North Atlantic transgender.
Yes, let's go. Honestly, that, you know what? I'd salute that flag. Let's go.
Europe needs to do more for its own defence, as well as maintaining that really strong transatlantic alliance and partnership. We do have to do more. We do have to take greater responsibility, and that is exactly what we're doing.
And at a time like this, when there's so much turmoil in the world, clearly the government you're a part of wants to project strength. But there is a sense that things keep going wrong, including this week here at home.
I'm just thinking of trans-related puns now. And the best I've come up with is Mark Rutte being the Extra General Secretary of NATO. I think that's quite good.
That's probably why he wants a daddy.
True.
Took as Home Secretary. The High Court said that your decision to prescribe Palestine action, essentially say they're a terrorist group.
She's doing journalism! Chat, she's doing repeated, multiple, consecutive journalisms now.
Surely we must be in some like alternate reality.
Yeah, this is the timeline, chat. It's happening. It's happening.
Sorry, Seb in chat says the L in LGBT stands for Lockheed Martin.
True.
B stands for Boeing.
Literally.
That was wrong, that you'd have made a mistake in how you went about that. One of those who's been arrested, 83-year-old Church of England priest Sue Parfitt, she's been charged under the Terrorism Act for holding a placard up supporting Palestine action.
Just think of how stupid that is. An 80-year-old pastor is being charged as a terrorist for holding a placard. This is the government. This is a Labour government.
I mean, it isn't a Labour government.
Well, no,
it isn't a Labour.
Well, exactly, but like, I expect the Tories to fuck me. I expect the Tories to absolutely fucking destroy things, because that's what the Tory party are elected to do, by cunts who like that sort of thing. The Labour party are supposed to be at least a bulwark to some extent against that, and they're like, no, you know what we need? Panopticon!
We spoke to her yesterday, and she has a message for you.
I do not consider myself a terrorist.
Please call her a cunt. Please. I'm begging you. I've never wanted an 80-year-old to swear at the Foreign Secretary more than right now. Please, please say, go fuck yourself. If you send me to jail, I'm going to fucking haunt you. I'm going to haunt your dreams.
It is quite ludicrous to consider that I'm an Anglican priest and I have worked for peace and justice all my life.
Woke.
This is not what terrorism is. We know what terrorism is. It is people like Al Qaeda and
No,
people...
Al Qaeda are our friends now. They've got an embassy in London. Al Qaeda,
It's true. It's
all
true.
good.
David Lammy's done smiling photos with, was it Al Sharaa?
Yeah.
In fucking Damascus.
Awesome. Yeah, no, Al Qaeda are bad. Al Qaeda are fine. They're our friends. The Taliban, good, awesome. Reuniting the brave fighters of the Mujahideen, always
Exactly.
good.
We spent billions and billions of pounds arming them, and then billions and billions of pounds ensuring that they end up back in charge of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
How many years later?
Exactly. We've made them the leaders of Afghanistan twice, all for about $1 trillion or something ridiculous. Yeah. But you know who the real threat is? This person who looks like everyone's nan.
have done terrible acts against communities.
You got this wrong, didn't you?
The optics of this are so magical. Literally, there's this kindly old woman going, I'm not a terrorist. And then you have to answer that. As a politician, that's kryptonite. There's no answering this.
Yeah, I apologise, BBC researchers. I was not familiar with your game.
True.
The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has looked at this and been very...
Oh no, oh, she's passing the buck. No, I'm not even Home Secretary. No, it's nothing to do with me. What are you talking about?
Is that the sound of my hands being washed?
True.
Very clear she disagrees with the judgment and is appealing.
Oh no, someone just threw the Home Secretary under the bus. That's terrible. Oh no.
Against it. So, look, I'm not going to cut across that, but let me just say this, that the advice that I had, and I suspect the advice that Shabana will have had as well, was very clearly about the risks around violence, around violent threats and around...
No. Again, no one is suggesting that violence didn't take place. Violence in of itself is not the description of terrorism.
I mean, yeah, we're going to call Mike Amesbury a terrorist for punching a constituent?
Yes.
That was violence, is that...
Yeah. No, I will call him a terrorist. Fuck him. Have I gone again, or have you gone again? Are we done? Hello?
On the hour as well. What's going on? It's very strange.
Very odd. Very strange. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue. We just have to put up with it. I don't know what it is, but it ultimately doesn't affect things that much, so I'm just going to carry on.
Public safety as well. And I think when you're faced with that advice as a Home Secretary, you have to take it immensely seriously. We had strong advice around prescription and those powers being needed in order to make sure that...
Well, hang on a pause. Well, it was pretty bad advice if it can get overturned by judicial review. And not just any judicial review on the case with which you're using the prescription law incorrectly, but it violated the European Convention of Human Rights. That was the second count with which it was found to be an unlawful prescription because of the chilling effects on freedom of speech and freedom of assembly.
If the law gets struck down, does that mean that the maniac murder cult and the Russian imperialism movement also get at least temporarily deprescribed?
I'm not sure. I would have to find out from somebody else.
Because if so, I just want to know so that I can do an ironic title that says I love the maniac murder cult, just because it would be legal for a very short period of time to do that.
It's also worth pointing out the second stupid thing she said there was, oh, this is about public safety. Excuse me, I don't think the Palestine action targeted literally anybody with criminal damage other than Israeli weapons manufacturer Elbit Systems.
Yeah.
I do not think that foreign military companies are in any way representative of the general public. She's trying to conflate the broader general public safety with her small bean genocide complicit military manufacturers.
Yeah. Also, as pointed out by Journey and Jordan in chat, very good point. Apparently Labour's entire cabinet just believe every single thing they're ever told. You can just say, no, I wasn't friends with the nonce, or, yeah, they're definitely terrorists. And they won't look into it, because that would involve having to read documentation and stuff, which obviously is anathema to the Labour government. So they just go, yeah, fair enough. Next.
Also, Commie Christian asks, did we see the footage that was released after it was found to be an unlawful prescription? Incredible how the selective footage was released before as compared to now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I haven't seen it.
Have you not seen it? Well, it's very strange, right? Firstly, you know they're going about, oh, they attacked a police officer with a hammer. Well, for a start off, the people who were security guards of the place had whips. Like rodeo whips, as... that's not normal PPE for a security guard in Britain. That's very strange. And secondly, one of the security guards takes the hammer and is seen carrying it around, like in a threatening manner, towards the people who, by this point, are not doing anything. They're just standing there waiting for the police to arrive. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah, the idea, and she would have known all of this. She would have been able to see all of this, and she still went ahead with the prescription of them. Because this was never about what was legal or appropriate or proportional. No, this was about defending Israel, because that's what Israel would have wanted.
It's so frustrating, and again, it's why it's tedious that so many people, in response to the Filton case, have essentially been saying, I've seen definitive proof showing that the jury made the wrong decision, even though nobody in the internet has seen the full unedited photos and pictures and videos that were shown to the jury that helped them make their decision. Again, they want to upend the independence of both the judiciary itself and juries more broadly to defend their emotional support after a state.
And of course, just because there is a genuine inherent authoritarian streak within this government. They genuinely don't like the fact that they instantly said we're going to appeal this, even though again the Attorney General could not possibly have read the documentation and given a full legal brief to the Home Secretary about this. There's no way in that time frame that could have happened, and they instantly went, "Yeah, we're appealing this." It's because they don't want any check on their power whatsoever. The fact that a court said no, you can't do that is like an offence to these people. They can't have it. They won't be told by anyone that they can't do anything. It's ridiculous.
Deal with violent threats, and also this was obviously passed through Parliament as well. And I would also just say there is a real difference between the freedom of protest, which is immensely important, including the freedom to protest around Palestine, which huge numbers of people have done and continue to do.
Your government wanted to stop them continually doing that.
Yeah, and have described them as hate marches.
You try to deliberately introduce new legislation to curtail persistent protest. You don't believe in this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought that legislation up.
Yeah.
And look, the UK government has recognised the state of Palestine. Those protest rights are really important. And instead, the activities of a small group that the court themselves have said was involved in the promotion of violence. That
again, not terrorism. That's not terrorism. Again, it's not legal and it's not right. Okay? But what I will say is it's not fucking terrorism. Terrorism, understandably, has reasonably clear definitions, although of course there are always going to be grey areas, but there are reasonably clear definitions and, quite rightly, a high threshold that you have to meet in order to prove that case legally. Because it's a very, very strong thing, because the restrictions that it then places on peoples and organisations are pretty draconian. So you have to reach a pretty significant legal threshold for it to actually suffice, which in the cases of people like Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram, they clear very easily. And there will be some edge cases where do they fall over this line or not. But this group aren't even close, as far as I'm concerned, to at all being described as a terrorist organisation. It's ridiculous. This was such farcical government overreach. And again, in support of their emotional fucking ethno-state, yeah.
Well, that's literally, you're absolutely right. They wouldn't have considered this in any other situation other than the fact that essentially Palestine Action made their government look bad because it was exposing these people's complicity in a genocide.
Yeah, absolutely. It was politically convenient for them to try and shut these people down. Just like it was politically convenient to allow hunger strikers to starve to death until an MP turned up at the gates and made a fuss about it.
Well, literally, in the same way, as has been pointed out in chat, it's also very politically convenient to want to restrict access to jury trials, just as potential jury nullification became something that was in the public consciousness. Or indeed, juries just did the thing the government didn't want them to do, regardless of whether or not people were actually guilty of the crimes they're being charged with or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the end, as a Home Secretary, you have to take seriously. That will go to appeal. There will be the opportunity for the court to look at that again. But, you know, I think any responsible Home Secretary takes immensely seriously advice that you get around...
But no, but again, as with Keir Starmer not being a genuinely serious person, you did not take this seriously. You used this as a political weapon against enemies. That's it. You didn't take it seriously. You have undermined the seriousness with which British government's claims of terrorism will now be treated by both the public and the courts.
Exactly. This is why I said much the same thing on Friday with Michael, and I was just, you know, these people purport to be the institutionalists. They purported to be the people who are going to take the reins of liberal democracy away from the bull in a china shop, the wreckers that were the Conservative Party running roughshod over the liberal democratic norms, and they've done the total opposite. In fact, they're ripping up liberal democratic norms, as we've talked about with terms of jury trials, like that stretch back all the way to fucking Magna Carta in terms of being judged by a jury of your peers, and indeed wanting to define entire political movements into being persona non grata by abusing terrorism legislation is, again, it just shows up how empty Starmerites are, that they will still defend this when they purport to be the ones who are the bastions of the liberalism that Labour Party are absolutely ripping apart.
You make
and liberal in a civil liberties sense, not in an economic sense.
Yeah. You make a good point, JBeck, which I will slightly adapt. You could make on her basis of her argument that they're terrorists because they promoted violence. Every football firm in the world is a terrorist group, then, including the fan base of Maccabi Tel Aviv, who you fought tooth and nail to get into this country and failed. Lol. Just saying.
Around public safety.
The Prime Minister said this has been a tough week. In fact, it's been a pretty tough 18 months since you've been in power. The government
Office
has lost 4 directors of communications, 2 chiefs of staff, 2 cabinet secretaries.
And honestly, how pointless are there directors of communications that you wouldn't even notice that there's been 4 changes? Because it's just been shit, and shit. So, like, why not just not employ one? How could it be worse? Save the public some money, because your communications are so bad that no communication might be better. If we just did, if the government stopped talking, it might actually just be better for everyone.
It's just like the official briefing from Scottish Labour was, no, actually, Keir Starmer isn't going to come and campaign for us for the Holyrood elections. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Guys, electoral kryptonite.
Well, and of course, the leader of Scottish Labour said he should resign. So, like, how bad would it be if that bloke turns up and you have to shake his hand now? Like,
oh my god, watching these people fall apart is just.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's so good.
Turns out the fleas were the only thing keeping them alive.
The ambassador to the United States and the elected leader of Labour in Scotland has said that Keir Starmer's time is up. Are you really a strong government?
Well, you're right, it has been a difficult week. I'm not going to pretend that it hasn't. You and I, Laura, have probably seen through the many years that we have been involved in different sides of looking at politics, difficult weeks for governments in the past. And I think the thing that's important when you're in that situation...
God, she's so tired. She's so, like, doesn't want to be answering this shit. Could she put any amount of, like, effort into it? She's literally... She's audibly sighing whilst giving an answer. It's so bad.
Please, can you not give us a courtier next time? Questions?
Oh, do I have to answer this? I want to just be here being Daddy Big Bollocks at the fucking defence conference.
Is to first of all ensure that actually we never forget what government has to be about, which is about serving the country, about protecting our national security, about making sure we can address the cost of living pressures that people across this country face, to make sure we can get a fairer deal for people right across this country, which is about the Labour values that we are pursuing.
You do not have Labour values. Shut up. Literally. Honestly, they should be done under the Trades Descriptions Act, calling themselves a Labour Party.
Yeah, it's a moral crusade or it is nothing, and they have chosen the latter.
No. It's a nonce crusade.
And also to recognise that when things go wrong, things need to change as well. And I think that is what Keir Starmer has done, but never to forget what government has to be about in the service of this country.
Some of your colleagues think that Keir Starmer really should listen to the women in his government more. Is that going to change? Is he going to pay more attention to you?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, so I haven't got a clue. He doesn't talk to me.
That's the funniest part of the fucking article.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. He's just sat there being serious.
He just was, and invariably yes.
Well, I think probably again...
Like, honestly, we were doing the McBain joke, and I just thought, it won't come up, surely. Oh, no, he doesn't like to read documents. Oh, for fuck's sake.
He has no hinterland.
Oh, he has no hinterland. Yeah. Fucking hell.
And I have seen...
Look, if you don't read documents, how did you become a lawyer? And quite a successful lawyer. Like, he didn't, like, stumble arse backwards. It's not like he's a son of a lord or something. Like, as we know, he's the son of a fucking toolmaker. So he didn't have, like, an into that thing. So he must have been good at one point. Did he read so much as a young lawyer that he just went, well, I'm going to average it out. I'm going to pro-rata this for the rest of my life by never reading again. So that on average, I've read a normal amount every year of my life.
Different examples of, should we say, in Westminster, through the years, Westminster Boise culture at different times.
So is he going to listen to you more?
Again, I will point out, up until bizarrely, David Cameron became leader. Right? Not a man known for his lack of sexism or whatever, but up until that point, Tory MPs, when a woman would go up to stand, even women on their own side, they would shout, boobies. That was the thing that happened.
The modernisation of the Conservative Party circa 2006.
Yeah, that happened in the 21st century. Absolutely mental.
Now, and we can't go back to that. Do you know the thing? I do actually feel. I feel actually quite angry about some of the issues that we've had around. Look, Peter Mandelson should never have been appointed. There has been now we've had obviously debates in Westminster, but actually the real focus should be on Epstein's victims and also
who have said that he shouldn't have appointed Mandelson. It said that at the time, and you ignored them.
Yep.
So the work that this Labour government has been doing to tackle violence.
Also, I only learned this today. You know who was offered an opportunity to go to the island and didn't? He remains the grumpiest based man ever, Norman Finkelstein.
Norman Finkelstein, literally.
Norman Finkelstein.
What was the phrase that he used when he was asked?
I can't remember, but like he was a friend of Epstein who like invited him or something, and he said something like, both Epstein and Alan Dershowitz should be in prison for their crimes or something like that. Like he was like, I'm not going to your fucking island. And that again, that was in private. So he's like a grumpy based motherfucker in private and in public. That's just who he is. It's not an act. That's who he is. Yeah, I love it.
So literally, this is the quote. My guess is, if Epstein put your daughter at age 15 in such a position, you wouldn't publicly describe him as a friend and a person of integrity. In fact, I would hope that you'd promptly throttle both Epstein and Dershowitz.
Oh, stay based, King. Stay based. Love it. Fucking honestly. And him bodying Mr. Fratelli or whatever he called him was very good.
Also, apparently Zayn Malik from fucking JLS was in the Epstein files because they essentially blacklisted him from the island for being too anti-Israel.
Oh my god. So Zayn Malik is the fucking leader of the revolution. Let's go.
Literally.
Honestly. Some weird, like, good bedfellows here of Norman Finkelstein, Rebecca Watson, and Zayn Malik.
Literally.
You know what?
The
Fair
Vanguard.
enough. Honestly, someone do that meme of the communist leaders, like on the red background thing, but with those three people. So it's Marx, Watson, Malik, Finkelstein.
Oh, I was jealous. It's from One Direction. Sorry, excuse me. I got my shitty boy bands mixed up.
Yeah, who cares? No one gives a fuck. Really.
Has to be about listening to women. It also has to be listening to survivors of violence. It's something that I, in opposition, made it a priority and a mission for Labour to halve violence against women and girls over the next 10 years. In the Home Office, I made...
Yeah, because we're going to make all of their abusers really busy by giving them roles in governments.
Exactly. Look, you can't abuse people if you've got work to do.
Sorry, I mean, actually, that's unfair. It's only the friends of those people who got roles in government.
Look, all I'm going to say is, I'm going to say it now. I think Peter Mandelson will have been outed as doing very, very illegal shit on that island once all of the documentation is available.
I mean, to be fair, he probably was on the island, or at least in the flat when he was leaking the emails.
Yeah, like again, I said this with Trump, right? You can't be like, you can be associates with a person, you can kind of know them, and like, you know, or you can be a work colleague with someone and not necessarily know their dark secrets or whatever. But if you're close personal friends, indeed yum friends with somebody for that long, and you go to their house and you stay there, you know about them. There's no way you can hide being a fucking degenerate monster like that in private. He knew exactly who this person was all along. So did Trump. So did all of these fucking evil bastards. So at the very, very least, they were fucking ridiculously permissive, and indeed up to and including facilitating this, if not necessarily directly engaging in it themselves. Either way, you're scum.
A mission for the government. In the Foreign Office, I am making it now a priority for us in our foreign policy. I do think that is important. So with all of the debates around, you know, culture issues that have to change, and that I frankly don't have any time for some of the issues that we've had, actually the real issue is the priorities and the things that we need to deliver. That is what a Labour government is about.
Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper, thanks so much for joining us. There's so much...
What a waste of fucking time. No.
I mean, it's fucking 12:30.
Yeah, it's 12:30, and I don't give a fuck about listening to Hillary Cass.
No, likewise, Priti Patel.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zempic Patel, we're calling her now.
True. Yeah, so let's cut it off at listening to just one transphobe instead of three. Brilliant.
True.
Anyway, yes, I'll send it. Well, actually, I don't know where I'm sending people. Actually, my YouTube went down, didn't it? I think. So I'm not sending you anywhere there.
Well, I'll send YouTube people over to Left of the Box, because I am not on Twitch.
Oh, no, I am live. Sorry. Oh, okay. I thought when it went down, the stream went down, but apparently not. So it's apology. Yeah, of course you didn't. I was responding to... Oh, sorry. It's late, chat. Ignore everything I'm saying, because it means fucking nothing. I'll send... Oh, Left of the Box. There you go. Go and say hello to Left of the Box. And on... Twitch. I don't know any of these people. Honestly, I need to do a cull of the channels I follow, because I don't watch any of them, and to the point where I don't know half of these fucking people. So I don't. What's the point, you know? Who's going?
I don't know. Something tells me something happened.
Shut the fuck up, man. Sorry, you can't hear the thing I'm hearing. Apologies. No one good is going. Actually, Mad Cat's going. I'll send you over to Mad Cat.
Hey, there you go.
Apologies. I know I'm fucking wasting everyone's time now. Mad Cat, Scotty. I go and say hello to them. They're regular in the chat. They're fucking awesome. Yes. I'll be back tomorrow, I think. Or no, well, today, because it's past midnight. But yeah. And yeah. Free Palestine and that. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you signed with Dre, but Dre's finished. You know, what is Dre really doing?
The records that I had done at the time, they didn't work. They wanted me out the building.
So we wanted to make a record that was like, forget you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just to prove everybody wrong.
Y'all know me, still the same OG, but I've been low-key, hated on by most of these niggas with no cheese.
That was Eminem's idea. He wrote the song for me and Snoop originally. He laid the reference vocals for Snoop. I liked the way it sounded. We just kept it that way.
Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips, just a bunch of gibberish. Exactly, they forgot about Dre.
Yeah, you.
Filling with the venom and eliminate him. Other words, I'm intimate him. I don't wanna hurt him, but I did him.
Diane, what have you brought for us today?
On Vintage. I remember getting the free kick, and then Teddy kind of came over, and I remember putting the ball down, and he kind of nudged me out the way, and he said, I'll take this one. And I looked up, and I thought, it's too far for you.
Did he listen to you?
He actually was quite calm in the morning.
The most important health is your mother.
The Nordics often don't get mentioned in other countries or in other news. So when it happens, we are delighted. We are super happy, right? So when other countries talk about us, we talk about that in our news. Yeah. Did you hear? Did you hear? Yeah. We like the cute, fun attention, right? But recently, the attention has been scary and political. Before it was, did you hear? Did you hear? They mentioned us on the news. Isn't it fun? But these days, did you hear? We were mentioned on the news. Before it was, Iceland is green and Greenland is icy. Isn't that a fun and silly fact? But these days it's, Iceland is green and Greenland is icy, Mr. President.
No one can smell. Hey, do you want a beer?
Yeah. How much eye do we need? Like, I don't see more when I open mine.
First of all, I didn't even know Kevin was as successful as he was.
All right, these I actually love.
The new year always...
I would like to thank drugs, ADHD, depression, anxiety, dyslexia, dyscalculia, insomnia.
November 1991.
This Valentine's Day.
This is what every American actor sounds like when they do a European accent.
They always do their best Keira Knightley impression, which means they press their teeth together and never actually open their mouth when they speak. Or they do their best Julie Andrews, which is never very good, and always painfully whimsical.
What you think about a city just depends on whether you live in that city.
I've given them each a couple.
Who's camping up?
One prominent climate scientist told us
these are the most hated tactics in Europe.
Sometimes make it good, sometimes
Tell me
make it
something your
shit.
ex did and you still stayed.
You're
he twerked
still
on me
there.
in the shower. It clapped.